magsilang at magkaroon ng pangalan at nasyonalidad.
Magkaroon ng tahanan at pamilyang mag-aaruga sa atin.
Manirahan sa payapa at tahimik na lugar.
Magkaroon ng sapat na pagkain, malusog at aktibong pangangatawan.
Mabigyan ng sapat na edukasyon.
Mapaunlad ang aking kakayahan.
Mabigyan ng pagkakataong makapaglaro at makapaglibang.
Mabigyan ng proteksyon laban sa pang-aabuso, panganib at karahasan.
Maipagtanggol at pagtulungan ng pamahalaan.
Makapahayag ng sariling pananaw.
isyong ginaatubang karon sa mga bata nga gusto na ko taganog pagtagad kay ilang pag-eskwela. Kay tungod sa child labor, daghan kayong mga bata nga dili pa kapadayon og pag-eskwela kay tungod sa ilang pagtrabaho.
Usa sa mga isyu nga ginatubang sa mga bata karon nga gusto na tagaan pagtagad kay verbal bullying, kay mo gid ang pinaka-common nga cause nga paka-effect sa mental health sa mga bata karon.
ginatubang sa mga bata ang gusto nako tagaan og pagtagad ang dili makakaon 3 times a day kay tungod sa ilang kapobrehon.
Usa sa mga isyu nga ginatubang karon sa mga bata na gusto nako matagaan o pagtagad kay ang rape. Kay daghan sa mga bata na nabiktima sa sexual na pang-aabuso.
Maaga pa lang ay pumupunta na sa sakahan si Reniel upang tulungan ang ama nito sa pagsasaka. Nakatoka siya ngayon sa pagtabas ng damo. Iniinda ni Reniel ang pagtatrabaho sa ilalim ng init ng araw. Minsan, inaabot siya ng mahigit 10 oras sa sakahan. Kwento ni Reniel, muntikan nang maputol ang kanyang daliri nang naaksidente siya habang nagtatrabaho. Ang 8 sa 9 na magkakapatid si Reniel. Ang mga nakakatandang kapatid ay may kanya-kanya na ring pamilya, kaya siya ang umaagapay sa kanyang mga magulang. Tumutulong din siya sa mga gawaing bahay. Ayon kay Reniel, nahihirapan siya ngayon sa kanyang pag-aaral dahil hindi siya makasabay sa modular learning. Di raw kasi niya maintindihan ang ibang leksyon. Di rin siya matulungan ng kanyang mga magulang dahil di rin nakapagtapos ng pag-aaral. Nasa grade 6 na ngayon si Reniel at pangarap niyang maging sundalo para matulungan ang mga magulang at makapaglingkod sa bayan.
Gusto na ako mangod na ka mag-eskwela. Hindi ko gusto nga sinani sila sa kuha, magtrabaho sa basakan.
Isa si Reniel sa mga batang manggagawa sa Davao del Norte na tinutulungan ngayon ng ChildFund BuildCA2P project at ng partner organization na Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Social Development Incorporated. Isa sa mga layunin ng BuildCA2P project na matulungan ang mga batang manggagawa sa pamamagitan ng educational assistance at livelihood projects para sa kanilang mga magulang.
Magandang araw and Happy Independence Day, everyone! Ako po si EJ Ortiz, makakasama ni Michelle para sa ating World Day Against Child Labor, Saving Children from Hazardous Work live virtual event. Palakpakan po! Siyempre, makipagkwentuhan po ako sa inyo mula dito sa ating social media virtual room. Ayan! Hello sa inyong lahat! Ayan, good afternoon, kaway-kaway! Ayan! Pero syempre, batiin natin ang ating 202 participants na nasa Zoom na ngayon! Grabe, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Pero eto po, bago po magsimula ang ating programa, narito po muna ang ilang mga paalala para sa ating mga virtual participants. First, makinig po. please set your username to agency before your full name so that we know a little bit more about who you are and the organization you're representing. Second, set your microphone to mute as default. And during the event, comments may be sent through the chat box and unmute your microphone only when recognized to speak. Ayan po, tandaan po nating lahat yon ha. Kaya naman, eto, don't forget to like and share our live virtual event streaming on the official Facebook page of BuildCA2P with our official hashtags. Eto po, hashtag I stand against child labor, hashtag 2021 Wodakel sa Pilipinas, and hashtag end child labor 2021.
Ginaatubang karon sa mga bata nga gusto na ako hatagan ng pagtagal ay ang child abuse. Kay daghan mga bata ang ginaabuso sa ilahang mga ginikanan, mga relatives o uban pa nga mga tao. Ang worst nga mahitabo kay ang mamatay ang bata tungod sa pag-abuso.
Isa sa mga isyu nga ginatubang sa mga bata karon na gusto na mo hatagan ng pagtagal ang cyberbullying. Unta-undangan ang pagpangharas o pamangdaot gamit ang modernong teknolohiya.
Sa ganitong paraan, sinisimula ni Joy May ang kanyang araw. Upang makatulong sa magulang at kumita ng pera, nagtatrabaho ang 11 taong gulang na si Joy sa isang salingan sa barangay Magsaysay, Davao del Norte, kung saan tinatanggal niya ang mga malalaking dahon ng saging, nagbabalat ng saging at binibilad sa araw, at paminsan ay nagbabalot din siya ng saging gamit ang cellophane. Hindi niya inaadya ang init, hirap at peligong dala ng trabahong ito dahil ang mas mahalaga para sa kanya ay makapag-uwi ng kita na ibibigay sa kanyang mga magulang.
Kailangan din aron na buhi ni aron nami pagpahit og ka ng mga bugas, nami pagpahit mga sudan, katabang mi nami pang inangla kay amo ra mapalit.
Ngunit, sa kabila ng hirap sa pagbalanse ng kanyang oras sa paggawa ng mga gawaing bahay at pagtatrabaho sa salingan, hindi pinabayaan ni Joy ang kanyang pag-aaral.
Mga alas 7, nagsugod na kong module, magkahuman ko ag alas 9, kay humanon man ako, kay pagpipasa ang module na mo, nanampong maabot diri abag ko.
Honor student si Joy at patuloy na nagsisikap sa pag-aaral upang matupad ang pangarap na maiahon sa kahirapan ng kanyang pamilya at matupad ang pangarap na maging isang guro balang araw.
Sakit sa ko ang ginikanan nga unsa yung pangayon din ako siya initay mahatag kay tungod sa kawadon.
Kahit anong hirap man ang pagdaanan sa araw-araw, nananatiling matatag si Joy at patuloy na lumalaban sa mga pagsubok, dala ang pag-asang darating ang isang bagong umaga na may dalang liwanag patungo sa pagtupad ng mga minimiti sa buhay.
Ako po si MJ, 11 taong gulang, kasalukuyang nag-aaral sa ika-6 na baitang ng paaralang sentral ng Upper Dado. At dahil sa di ko alam na dahilan naghiwalay ang aming mga magulang, kaya kami umuwi dito sa Mindanao, buhat sa Luzon. Dito ko ipinagpatuloy ang aking pag-aaral. Katuwang namin ng aming lolo at lola. Hindi na rin kami umasa pa sa papa. Kaya minabuti ko ang aking pag-aaral para matumbasan ang paghihirap ni mama. Para makatulong sa aming pangangailangan, ay nagtatrabaho ako sa kakilala ni lola tuwing Sabado. At nag-aalaga rin ako ng inahing baboy para makatulong sa amin. Sa ngayon, meron akong 2 biik na inalagaan at 2 kambing. Noong wala pang pandemya, ay bago ako pumapasok, pinapakain ko muna ang aking mga alaga. At pagbalik ko sa hapon, sa tanghali, si Lolo ang nagpapakain ng mga alaga ko dahil malayo ang paaralan sa amin. Masaya naman kami kahit si Mama lang. Salamat rin sa lola namin na laging nandito para sa amin para mag-alaga. Ngayong taon ay napabilang ako sa isang proyekto ng ChildFund na handang tumulong sa mga kagaya kong nagtatrabaho para makatulong sa pamilya kahit papaano. Nakatanggap ako ng mga educational supplies galing sa BuildCA2P na ikinatuwa ko dahil hindi na mamumroblema si mama sa mga gagamitin sa aking pag-aaral. Sana ay makatulong talaga ang proyektong ito sa akin at sa iba pang mga bata.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. Ayan po, ilang minuto na nga lang po at magsisimula na ang ating World Day Against Child Labor, Saving Children from Hazardous Work live virtual event. Ako po muli si EJ Ortiz na makikipagkwentuhan sa inyo mula dito sa ating social media virtual room. Dahil dyan, kumustahin natin ang ating 300 participants! Palakpak, kaway-kaway! Hello, good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. Grabe, ang dami ninyo. Ayan po, samahan niyo po kami ngayong hapon. Sabay-sabay natin i-celebrate ating mga kabataan. At syempre, narito po ang ilang mga paalala para sa ating mga virtual participants. First, eto po, please set your username to agency before your full name so that we know a little bit more about who you are and the organization you're representing. Second, set your microphone to mute as default. And during the event, comments may be sent through the chat box and unmute your microphone only when recognized to speak. Ayan po, tandaan po ninyo lahat ha. Kaya naman, don't forget to like and share our live video streaming on the official Facebook page of BuildCA2P with our official hashtags. Ito po, hashtag I stand against child labor, hashtag 2021 Wodakel sa Pilipinas, and hashtag end child labor 2021.
Maagang pumupunta sa paaralan si Teacher Jocelyn sa Dologo National High School Annex sa Barangay San Roque, Maramag, Bukidnon Province. Agad niyang inaayos sa mga learning modules na ipamamahagi sa kanyang mga estudyante. Aminado si Teacher Jocelyn na marami sa kanyang mga estudyante ang nahihirapan sa bagong sistema ng pag-aaral. Kaya sinisiguro niya na ang gagawing modules ay mas madaling maintindihan ng kanyang mga mag-aaral. Pero bukod sa mga alituntunin sa paaralan, nababahala si Teacher Jocelyn sa kalagayan ng kanyang mga estudyante. Ayon sa kanya, ang ilan sa mga mag-aaral ay napilitan ng magtrabaho para makatulong sa pamilya.
Lisod na sa ila sa una, samot pa karon nga sila mismo ug ang ilang ginikanan maura ang kanabang naa sa crucial role sa learning. Walay na guide. Naglisod pa gani nga naa ang teacher adtong panahona, karon pa bakaha nga sila na lang. 7 ka mga bata ang formal gyud istorya sa ako nga ma'am muundang nako. Lisod kaayo ma'am, dili mi kasabot sa instruction, wala mi mapangutanahan. Plus kanang dili pod pwede nga dili sila manarbaho kay module ang mauna. Mas worst karon ikumpara sa normal nga sitwasyon.
Isa si Makmak sa child laborers na nag-aaral sa Dologo National High School. Nagtatrabaho siya bilang part-time laborer sa isang plantasyon ng tubo. Ayon kay Mark, bukod sa pagputol ng mga damo, minsan nag-i-spray din siya ng fertilizer.
Yan po nagkarga ninyo, lisod kayo bugat kayo, dagko kayong tapog, di magkapareha. Kapalitan, trabaho ka karon, then Lunes niya matunong bitawag tig uli og module. Ana niya. Dili lang ka mo trabaho kay imo maging uli man jud kag module.
Ayon kay Teacher Jocelyn, sa 373 na enrolled students ngayong school year, mahigit sa 200 na mga batang engaged sa child labor o kaya working child. Upang matulungan ng mga bata sa kanilang pag-aaral, nagsasagawa ng mga tutorial at remedial classes ang mga guro.
Ipaadto mi kanang gitawag nga home visitation gi-strengthen pag ginag-ayo kung gikinahanglan nga ang maestra halos kada adlaw na lang gyud naa sa balay do kanang sa bata aron ma-monitor ang iyang kalisod, ipaadto gid may anak do wala gid hino na mo buhatan nga kada adlaw na ami didto kay naman sad mi pambuhaton diri sa school. Tawagan ang bata, tan-aw ang iyang achievement paghatag ana pag-uli sa iyang module, gipang check na sa mga maestra unsay kakulangon sa bata.
Maging ang mga magulang ng mga bata ay inorganisa din ni Teacher Jocelyn at tinuruan na makapag-ipon sa pamamagitan ng Community Managed Savings and Credit Association. Kada linggo, naguhulog ng 20 hanggang 100 pesos sa kanilang savings account ang mga magulang. Sa isang taon, nakakaipon ang bawat isa sa kanila ng tag 5,000 pesos na siya ring ginagamit nila upang makabili ng mga gamit sa eskwela ng kanilang mga anak.
Experience na ko sa una nga kung motrabaho ka sa ilalom sa siga sa adlaw, luoy ang mga bata, ikaduha, pag makatrabaho naman gud ang mga bata, makadawat sila sa ilang kaugalingon income, murag di na sila ganahan mo eskwela. So, sa bisan tudog sa kalisod, nalingkamot jud ko nga kuan dili na sila mapariha sa ako kay luoy gid kay ang mga bata gyud. Sa savings, ako gid kay siya ikatabang. Kay kanang naay time nga manginahanglan sila na sila problema sa eskwelahan. Kanang wala kay kadaganan, gawa sa grupo. Nagpasalamat gid ko.
Bilang isang guro, nais ni Teacher Jocelyn na makitang maging matagumpay sa buhay ang kanyang mga estudyante.
No child shall be left behind. Kana bang makater nila kay recognize ba yan nato nga ang matag bata naagyoy katungod sa edukasyon. Kanang dili siya ma-deprive kay kung kana lang unta mahimos atong kaugalingon nga barangay sa atong komunidad, kalami ba kay tan-aw nga mga 5 years gikan karon magtan-aw tas atong mga kabataan nga bisag nagtubo sa pobre nga lugar, mga malamposon.
Maagang namulat sa realidad ng buhay sa probinsya si Joman Manampit mula sa tribong Pulangihon sa Quezon, Bukidnon. Kaya naman, sa murang edad, tumutulong na siyang magbanat ng buto para makatulong sa magulang sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan.
Nagaedad akong 5 anyos, uban ako sa ako ang mama o papa, akong ginikanan, na kami, magguna kami, mutanom kami og tubo. Grabe, kainit, ang akong natagamtaman, kagutom, o siyempre, nagit ang dapaw. Hangtod nga naka-experience na gid ko mismo nga ako na gyud ang mutapas mismo sa tubo. So grabe ang init kanang dapaw sa tubo, imo ganang makuha sa imong lawas kanang muli kag balay nga matulog ka nga ngilngi kayo ang imong lawas kay dito na wa pa nakuha ang dapaw. Unya makuha sa imo bitang habol, grabe ka gilok. So hantod nga pagkuan og tapas, nakaya na din ako nga mo apil ako katkat akong damyo kay mukarga na po kong apil. So kana nga mga experience nako, grabe lisod kaayo. Apan sa akong pagpadingkamot kay nasayod ako nga gikan sa akong pagkayod ana, nagyapon koy makakuha gyapon. So makapalit na pud mi og bugas. So dayon pagkahuman ni ana, ang pagdating sa Lunes saka hanggang Biyernes naman, nasa eskwelahan ako.
Dahil sa wagas na pagmamahal sa pamilya, pinagsabay ni Joman ang pagtatrabaho at pag-aaral upang mabigyan ng maginhawang buhay ang pamilya sa hinaharap.
Sa akong elementary po, I was graduated as valedictorian, the same as I am also the first honorable mention in high school. Nag-eskwela ako for 2 years sa CMU, Central Mindanao University, College of Education. I was honor. Na-honor ko ato nga higayuna. I was the college dean's lister at the same time Department Education honors student.
Naging mabigat na hamon para kay Joman ang magpatuloy sa kolehiyo dahil sa aspetong pinansyal.
Pwede po ba akong mangguna diya sa inyo ha ma'am? Ako lang pamalit sa akong pagkaon ma'am. In town, ano siya nga, naluoy ang tag-iya kay kita ang po ko nga sagutan na wala ko nagipaguna. Yang siya yang kaluoy, di akong gihatagag kuan, kanton, di akong gihatagag tinapa, ugas dito. Nakahilak-hilak dito sa akong kagalingon nga si kong baklay paingon sa akong boarding house. Free gyapon ko sa kuan boarding house pero ang akong personal nako nga akong personal nga gastuson, maugya po na siya. Hantod nga niabot ang panahon nga anak ko nga nagin ako kaya.
Lumipat sa ibang kolehiyo si Joman kung saan panggabi ang klase upang makapaghanap buhay sa umaga.
So, sa buntag, mo ni akong trabaho, bulingit kayo ko kay isa ko ka labor. Di kapoy akong lawas, imagine, mag-labor ko sa morning, pagkagabi, eskwela ko.
Sa dami ng hamong sumubok sa katatagan ni Joman, nagbunga na ang ilang taong hirap, sakripisyo at pagsisikap. Dahil natapos niya ang kanyang kursong education sa kolehiyo.
Maningkamot gid ko og eskwela para sa ako ang pamilya. Mao na nga sila gid akong ginalanta amo ang managsuon. Unsi mi tanan ako ang kinamanghuran.
Unang nagtrabaho si Joman sa munisipyo ng Bukidnon bilang peso staff. Nakapagturo din siya sa 2 paaralan sa Bukidnon bilang IP teacher.
Ang akong kayamtang dito makayong kog lisod pero akong kadasig naagyapon kay luoy kaayo ang akong mga katribo.
Hanggang dinala siya ng kanyang angking galing at talino sa isang pribadong kumpanya. Sa ngayon, nakabase na sa Quezon City si Joman bilang isang customer business specialist.
Puntaani na ikahay ko kaniyo, labi na ang mga sulod ko, mga kabatanunan, na mga sulod ko manubo o hangkaypad na tribo. 7 tribes o Bukidnon. Maura ni ako maistorya sa inyo ha. Ayaw ka mo ka-discourage sa ato ang sitwasyon kung pobre kita. Nasayod kita na ang pobre o ang kapobrehon dili kini babag sa ato ang kalambuan o tumong og tinguha nga makabot nato sa ato ang kinabuhi. Kay nasayod kita nga kini ang atong sitwasyon o sa kini ka challenge nga makahatag sa ato og kusog nga sa atong pagpaningkamot. Mga kabatanunan, mga sulod ko, mamanuhon ta og diskarte. So mao na isa sa importante sa ato nga naagitay pangandoy nga kabuton sa unahan para aduna kitay kadasig sa pagpaningkamot sa ini na problema. Nato kalimtahan, maghayo gid kita og giya gid sa Ginoo. Ang pinaka-importante giya sa Ginoo, nasa Dios ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa.
Ayan, Happy Independence Day po ulit sa ating lahat. Magandang hapon po ulit sa inyong lahat. Ayan po, ilang minuto na nga lang po at magsisimula na ang ating World Day Against Child Labor, Saving Children from Hazardous Work live virtual event. Ako po muli si EJ Ortiz na makikipagkwentuhan sa inyo mula dito sa ating social media virtual room. Kaway-kaway sa lahat nating mga kasama. Ayan, tingnan natin ulit sila. Hello po sa inyong lahat. 450 participants po ang meron tayong kasama ngayong hapon. Grabe, palakpakan. Ayan po, maraming salamat sa pagsama sa amin. At syempre, narito po ang ilang mga paalala para sa ating mga virtual participants. Makinig po kayo mabuti. First, please set your username to agency before your full name so that we know a little bit more about who you are and the organization you're representing. Second, set your microphone to mute as default. Okay, and during the event, comments may be sent through the chat box and unmute your microphone only when recognized to speak. Ayan po, tandaan po ninyo yung lahat ha. Kaya naman, don't forget to like and share our live video streaming on the official Facebook page of BuildCA2P with our official hashtags. Hashtag I stand against child labor. Hashtag 2021 Wodakel sa Pilipinas. And hashtag End Child Labor 2021. Ayan, kaya naman po sit back, relax at gaya ng palaging sinasabi ni Michelle sa Bata ang Bida, buksan ang puso at isipan para sa ating mga kabataan. Ito na po ang ating World Day Against Child Labor, Saving Children from Hazardous Work live virtual event.
We pray for all the child laborers across the globe who toil in farms, carry heavy stones and quarries, who work as street laborers and serve as domestics.
We pray for the millions of children who are engaged in hazardous work because of poverty, conflict, and social injustices.
We pray for each of these children that they will be protected from abuse and suffering.
We pray to keep the children safe and their growing bodies from hazardous conditions.
We pray that their families will find reliable income and financial stability so children don't have to work.
We pray for the governments, organizations, and advocates who are tirelessly working to strengthen laws and programs to end child labor.
We pray for the child laborers to have a chance at learning, achieve their purpose, and their dreams to have a better future. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Mayang magiliw, pelas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pa sisil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bugaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhatit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Mapagpalayang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Michelle Robin, Child Advocacy and Communications Officer ng ChildFund BuildCA2P project. At makakasama po din natin sa ating live virtual event si EJ Ortiz na isa ring dating child worker. At masayang makikipagkwentuhan po siya sa inyo sa ating mga virtual audience. Ngayong araw, ating ipinagdiriwang ang ika-123rd Philippine Independence Day. Kalayaan na ating minimiti at pinagsisikapang maranasan ng mga bata, lalo na ng mga child laborers dito sa ating bansa. Kaya naman ngayong 2021 World Day Against Child Labor, ipinagmamalaking ihandog ng ChildFund BuildCA2P at ng ating mga partner CSOs and agencies ang ating live virtual event, World Day Against Child Labor, Saving Children from Hazardous Work. Tema ng ating selebrasyon ngayong taon, Makibahagi, Makialam at Magkaisa para sa Batang Malaya. This year's celebration focuses on action taken for the 2021 International Year of the Elimination of Child Labor. Sa pinakabagong datos na ilabas ng International Labor Organization at ng UNICEF, umabot na po sa 160 million ang mga bilang ng mga child laborers sa buong mundo. An increase of 8.4 million children in the last 4 years. That's why our live virtual event this afternoon is an opportunity for our partners to showcase progress in carrying out their action pledges. Napapanood din po ang ating live virtual event sa Facebook page ng BuildCA2P at ng ating mga partner CSOs, ang Kaani Foundation Incorporated, Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Social Development Incorporated at Sahauman Association Incorporated. And now, I would like to invite Mr. Federico Luis Albertini, the Community Director of ChildFund Philippines, to formally welcome us in this event. Good day, Sir Freddy.
Good afternoon to our distinguished guests, partners, and participants for this very important event for marginalized and vulnerable children who are at risk. It is the World Day Against Child Labor, and Child Philippines welcomes you all. Wadasel, as it is pronounced, is in its 19th year and being celebrated worldwide. So we welcome you again. This was launched in 2002 by the International Labor Organization, or commonly known as ILO, after which it is being celebrated annually to raise awareness on the plight of child laborers in the world. This year, 2021, the theme is Act Now, End Child Labor. It encourages us to turn commitment into action to address child labor. In time for the International Year of Elimination of Child Labor, ChildFund would like to celebrate Wadasel 2021 with important partners who were and remain with us today in the implementation of our BuildCA2P project. BuildCA2P project aims to capacitate the civil society organizations in Mindanao, namely Kani, Haomang, and Kaugmaong. Sorry for the pronunciation. Together with our partner CSOs and our technical partners Ateneo de Davao University and Pro Media Foundation Incorporated, we would like to extend our gratefulness to our partners from the government like DOLE, DSWD, DILG, and all the LGUs. Despite the challenges at hand due to COVID, we move forward significantly to reach child laborers, their families, and communities in Mindanao, particularly regions 10, 11, and 12. We would like also to mention the unconditional support of our donor, the U.S. Department of Labor, who walks with us in these difficult times, and we are constantly and continuously in coordination with. I believe that this is worth mentioning and recognizing your presence, and say thanks for all your kind-hearted initiatives and actions. We also deeply appreciate the children who supported and gave a piece of their experience, creative expression, and life story for this encounter so that it be fruitful and meaningful. For us, child participation is the center of everything we do, so this is key for us, of course. Thus, this is a key event. It is an opportunity for us to share with each other and feel what it means to be in the children's shoes, struggling to fight poverty and continue believing in his or her dream. It is also a venue of showing concerted effort of no matter how small the endeavor might be, and that we can actually make a significant change in a child's life. Many of us consume products and byproducts of banana, corn, and coconut, and of course, the Filipino staple, rice. When we enjoy these staple foods and fruits, we can also wonder if children have toiled in hazardous conditions for it to reach our tables. So I would like to encourage everyone to stay up to the end of the program. Thank you for sharing your precious time with us today. It means a lot to ChildFund and especially to those who we are entrusted to support, the child laborers. Maraming salamat, dahang salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Federico Luis Albertini, the Country Director of ChildFund Philippines. ChildFund BuildCA2P has been working for the abolition of child labor with our partner CSOs, organizations, and the communities in Mindanao. Here are some of the initiatives to eradicate child labor in full support to the International Year of the Elimination of Child Labor. Let's all watch this.
ChildFund Philippines, under the Building Capacity, Awareness, Advocacy, and Programs, intensifies its campaign to take urgent measures to uphold the children's rights, including efforts to prevent and respond to child labor cases. BuildCA2P project, funded by United States Department of Labor, aims to capacitate the civil society organizations to combat child labor in crop agriculture, particularly for banana, coconut, corn, and rice sectors in the provinces of Bukidnon, Davao del Norte, and North Cotabato. As we continue to promote the protection and advancement of children's rights, we partnered with 3 local civil society organizations, namely Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Development, Haladuma Alang sa Nasud, and Kaanib Foundation Incorporated. To better understand the scope of child labor, especially in the rural areas, BuildCA2P, through its partner Ateneo de Davao University, trained the CSOs to conduct community research to better understand the prevalence and factors related to child labor. BuildCA2P also utilized the use of Kobo Toolbox, an open-source tool for mobile data collection that will help CSOs gather child laborers' profile. The result of the research will be used to determine suitable bases for initiating programs and interventions for the child laborers and their families. To date, more than 2,400 children engaged and at risk to child labor have been profiled by the CSOs. BuildCA2P also tailored approaches to address the challenges in the communities. These includes strengthening community-based organizations by training them in crafting and implementing policies to help address child labor, giving livelihood opportunities for parents, and creating community savings and loan program to help sustain their livelihood projects. BuildCA2P, through its partner CSOs, helped establish and reactive the community-based child protection group in the barangay level. CSOs are leading the community volunteers and other stakeholders in realizing their roles and responsibilities in establishing child protection and child labor-free policies. BuildCA2P strengthens its partnership with different government agencies like the Department of Labor and Employment, Department of Social Welfare and Development, Philippine National Police, and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. This is to intensify interagency coordination in sharing resources and information and implementation of programs and delivery of services to the community. BuildCA2P is also closely working with the Department of Social Welfare and Development by integrating the implementation of the Strategic Help Desk for information, education, livelihood, and other developmental interventions against child labor. Recently, BuildCA2P conducted a video advocacy workshop attended by Child Labor Prevention and Elimination Program focal persons of the Labor Department in Region 10. The training aimed to heighten the impact of anti-child labor campaign in the community by integrating film advocacy in preparation for the Dole Kula Film Festival, a digital film competition showing Filipino child story against child labor activities. ChildFund BuildCA2P, together with Probe Media Foundation Incorporated, have trained partner organizations, Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Social Development, Kaanib Foundation Incorporated, and Hauman Association Incorporated to produce advocacy materials that can be used as a tool to increase awareness and mobilize people to take actions against child labor. CSOs were also trained to produce their own radio programs, from doing program grids, creating music scorings, and producing radio advocacy plugs. Their weekly radio programs provide a platform for government agencies, partner organizations, and experts to share their knowledge and information on specific programs and activities. Joining a community of listeners, their radio programs provide a platform for public discussion and promotes open dialogue to stimulate debate and increase engagement on issues concerning children. The project launched Bata Ang Bida, an online talk show streamed over BuildCA2P Facebook page. The show features stories about children, parenting, and health tips, and highlights efforts of our partner organizations in implementing child protection and anti-child labor campaigns and policies. Along with this, BuildCA2P also launched the I Stand Against Child Labor campaign. The campaign aims to gather message of support from government officials, celebrities, and child rights advocates to become key influencers in promoting the rights of the child and strengthening anti-child labor advocacies. BuildCA2P encourages children's participation through Youth Speak, an online campaign giving young people a platform to voice their opinion on children's issues. As the pandemic wreaks havoc on family incomes, some children are forced to work under tedious conditions and in dangerous environments so they can help their families earn a living. ChildFund Philippines, under the Building Capacity, Advocacy Awareness and Programs project initiates mitigating measures to help families of child laborer during the pandemic by providing them food packs. A total of 3,299 households received food bags from the target beneficiary areas. Personal protective equipment were distributed to 1,380 frontliners from covered provinces in Davao del Norte, Bukidnon, and North Cotabato. BuildCA2P also distributed school supplies to more than 2,000 program beneficiaries to help children in their studies during the pandemic. 2021 marks the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor. ChildFund BuildCA2P project joins the campaign to end child labor by providing training to local organizations, raising awareness, and providing livelihood opportunities to the families of child laborers.
ChildFund BuildCA2P will continue to work for a world where children's rights are respected, protected, and enforced. Millions of children in the Philippines are forced to work at young ages. Child labor is one of the country's most urgent problems and stems from a range of social factors. And to give us a view of child labor in the Philippines and the International Year of the Elimination of Child Labor, I would like to invite Ms. Daphne Kulanag, Director of ACE Project with World Vision Development Foundation Incorporated. Ate Daphne, better known in project areas, received US Dolls 2017 Iqbal Masi Award in recognition of her contributions to reducing child labor in the Philippines. Good afternoon, Ms. Daphne.
Good afternoon, everybody. Maayong hapon sa tanan, and thank you very much, ChildFund, for inviting me to be part of the World Day Against Child Labor program of ChildFund. It's so nice to be working with a fellow US Doll grantee like ChildFund. World Vision is also funded by US Department of Labor. Thank you for giving attention to child labor and child work. First, let us differentiate child work, which teaches children responsibility, and child labor, which damages children's opportunities for the future. So what we are really aiming is eradication of child labor. In the Philippines, the last survey was done by the Philippine Statistics Office more than 10 years ago, but there were more than 2 million children in hazardous work, and 2 million is still a big number. And the Northern Mindanao was part of the top 5 regions with the highest child labor incidence. Now, siguro po, balikan natin, bakit po merong World Day Against Child Labor, and why are we celebrating 2021 as the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor? Dahil matagal na tayo sa child labor movement, so I'll be talking of historical figures. In 2002, or almost 2 decades ago, the Director General of the International Labor Organization, Mr. Juan Somavia, launched the World Day Against Child Labor, so that every year on June 12, we will celebrate and look at celebrate, or really to focus attention on eradicating child labor. And also, there were efforts for all governments to look at the issue of child labor in their own countries. In the Philippines, we celebrate World Day Against Child Labor with usually a week long of activities, because June 12 is also our Independence Day. So this year, the focus of child labor, it being the International Year of the Elimination of Child Labor, as declared by the UN General Assembly in a resolution in 2019, we are focusing with the theme of Act Now, End Child Labor. And in the Philippines, the theme that we chose for the World Day Against Child Labor in the Philippines is Makibahagi, Makialam, Magkaisa para sa Batang Malaya. Ibig sabihin, lahat po tayo ay tinatawagan to work together, to stand together against child labor, so that children will be free from the worst forms of child labor or the hazards of child labor. Tinitignan po natin kung paano sa buong taon na to, sa buong mundo, lahat ng mga pamahalaan ay hinihikayat na magtalaga ng mga batas, magtalaga ng mga programa para po mawala na ang worst forms of child labor, ang modern slavery, ang forced labor, and child labor in general. So yung pong mga bata ay tinuturuan nating maging responsable sa pagtatrabaho sa bahay, hindi bawal yon. Pero sinisikap natin na tiyakin na kung sila ay magtatrabaho dahil inaalaw naman ng batas ang pagtatrabaho pag 15 anyos pataas, provided hindi ito hazardous, kailangan po na tinitignan natin, binabantayan din natin yung conditions of work, no? So yung mga batang wala pang 15 anyos, hindi dapat pinagtatrabaho ng higit 4 na oras sa isang araw at hindi between 8 p.m. hanggang 6 a.m. the next day. Ito yung mga batang allowed na magtrabahong wala pang 15, yung mga nasa entertainment at sa information, at yung mga bata sa family establishments. Pero yung mga batang 15 hanggang bago mag-18 that is allowed na silang magtrabaho, dapat ding bantayan na yung kanilang pagtatrabaho hindi lalampas ng 8 oras, hindi lalampas ng mula alas 10 ng gabi hanggang alas 6 ng umaga, bawal ang night work sa mga bata. At yung kanilang pag-aaral dapat nababantayan din po natin, at yung kanilang kalusugan ay dapat pa rin na itataguyod natin. So ito po yung mga dapat natin tinitignan as a community, as magkakapitbahay, pinag-uusapan natin, at para maproteksyonan po yung mga bata sa mga paaralan, tinitignan natin. At natutuwa ako na ang ChildFund matagal nang naging partner din ng World Vision dahil dun sa ABK initiative mula 2003 hanggang 2016. At madami tayong storya ng pakikipag-isa ng mga komunidad sa mga barangay, sa mga city, sa mga local government units. At ito po yung ninanais natin gawin. Ditong buong taon ng International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, kailangan makita natin na yung mga batang dating nagtatrabaho ay makapag-aral. At madami sa kanila from child labor, nagiging child laborer, nagiging child leaders. So pagtulong-tulungan po natin ito. And again, maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita sa amin para maging kabahagi ng ating pakikiisa, no? Sama-sama tayo magkaisa to work together against child exploitation. Maraming salamat and congratulations. Together with you, I stand against child labor.
Unless something is done to stop child labor, the problem will continue to affect the lives of many families across the country. Maraming salamat po, Ms. Daphne Kulanag of World Vision Development Foundation Incorporated. The Labor Department renewed its bid this year to free more than 500,000 children who are into child labor and its worst forms, amid reports that cases of child labor spiked despite the restrictions due to the pandemic. Under Republic Act No. 9231, child labor refers to any work or economic activity performed by a child that subjects him to any form of exploitation or harmful to his health, physical, mental, or psychological development. Narito po ang mensahe para sa ating mga kabataan mula kay Undersecretary Ana Jone ng Department of Labor and Employment.
Good afternoon, magandang hapon po sa lahat. On behalf of the Department of Labor and Employment and Secretary Silvestre H. Bello III, it is an honor to be part of today's event. We would like to share with you that in 2019, President Rodrigo Duterte signed Executive Order Number 92 institutionalizing the National Council Against Child Labor to upscale the implementation of the Philippine Program Against Child Labor. This issuance from the President is a clear indication of the Duterte administration's commitment to intensify efforts for the prevention, reduction, and elimination of any forms of child labor in the country. The National Council Against Child Labor is composed of 19 government agencies, with the DOLE as the chairperson and the DSWD as the co-chairperson. The council will also have as members representatives from the worker sector, employer sector, and non-government organizations with programs on child labor. To create vertical linkage and to strengthen collaboration between national and local government actors to address the issue of child labor. The Council has been localized in the regional level through the regional councils against child labor, chaired by the DOLE or through the Regional Subcommittee of the Welfare of Children, chaired by the DSWD, to ensure that the child labor issue is included in discussions concerning child protection. In the Philippine Development Plan 2017 to 2022, the country's medium-term socio-economic development blueprint, anchored on Ambisyon Natin 2040, the long-term plan of the country, child labor has been mainstreamed. This is also a manifestation of the high importance that the government is giving to tackling the child labor problem in the country. The DOLE has been profiling child labor since 2018 in order to locate and identify the children who will be withdrawn from child labor to achieve the target in the Philippine Development Plan 2017-2022 to remove children from child labor. From 2018 to 2020, a total of 266,873 child laborers have already been profiled by the DOLE, 261, 132 of whom have been referred for the provision of necessary services. A total of 59,635 child laborers have already been provided with necessary services, and 56,276 have been removed from child labor. Under the DOLE Child Labor Prevention and Elimination Program, the DOLE continues to provide livelihood assistance to parents of child laborers, implement the Sagip Batang Manggagawa mechanism to detect, monitor, and rescue child laborers in hazardous and exploitative working conditions, and conduct Project Angel 3 to provide an array of social services such as school supplies, food packs, hygiene kits made available by sponsors or benefactors or angels to child laborers and their families. In the area of labor inspection, child labor indicators are included in the labor inspection checklist. Recognizing the importance of generating updated data on child labor for targeting and planning purposes, the Philippine Statistics Authority has included a rider module on child labor in every October rounds of the Labor Force Survey since 2017. The Philippine Statistics Authority will be releasing soon the latest statistics on child labor in the Philippines. The COVID-19 pandemic has posed challenges in the fight against child labor. The economic and labor market shock brought by the pandemic pushed more families into poverty, which could lead to an increase in child labor. However, by mitigating the economic and labor market shock brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, we can prevent children from entering child labor. In the Philippines, the government has scaled up its livelihood and emergency employment programs to provide assistance to workers who have been displaced. Cash subsidies were also provided to those in the marginalized sector and to some displaced workers for them to have means to meet their basic needs during the pandemic. While the situation has become more challenging due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we can still sustain the progress we have made towards the elimination of child labor. Let us continue to upscale our efforts, create horizontal and vertical linkages, and relentlessly work together to address child labor. We congratulate the ChildFund Philippines for their contribution to the fight against child labor and for organizing this event to heighten awareness against child labor. So muli, magandang hapon po. God bless. Thank you.
ChildFund BuildCA project commits to work with the Labor Department to fight against child labor and create an environment that enables children to develop their full potentials. Film is a powerful medium that can move people to change. It also creates a great impact for moral, social, and cultural change. Kaya naman bilang pagdiriwang sa World Day Against Child Labor, Dole Region 10 launched the Dolecula Film Festival, mga maikling kwento ng mga batang malaya. It aims to heighten the impact of child labor campaign in the community by integrating film advocacy. And to give us a preview of this year's Dolecula Film Festival, narito po si Director Albert Gutib of the Department of Labor and Employment Region 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kula of Dole Kula or Pelikulang Dole, Dole film, is taken from a Tagalog word, pelikula, meaning movie, motion picture, film, to point out specific theme or story. The Dole Kula Northern Mindanao Film Festival is a region-wide film-making competition that seeks remarkable Dole Northern Mindanao scriptwriters, directors, in engaging contents that anchored to child labor theme, the type of work defined by forward-thinking perspectives and unconventional yet universally appealing stories created by the Regional Child Labor Prevention and Elimination Program managers and community facilitators were under Dole Administrative Order Number 579, the regional and provincial offices shall develop information and education campaign materials in the implementation of ChildFund. Dole Kula has uniquely created a platform significantly different from the typical film festivals. 6 competing, including 1 guest entrance, were given the general perspective onwards same direction, the elimination of child labor incidents in northern Mindanao. Thus, ChildFund focal persons collaborated to develop or produce storylines, storyboards, and scripts out from the stories of the withdrawn or removed child laborers who were given intervention by Dole 10. With over 3 months of experience discovering new film writers and directors, Dole Kula has cultivated a dynamic, hands-on process of development, potential introductions for digital filmmakers and film enthusiasts. And most importantly, Dole Kula developed Dole 10 employees' film appreciation and crafting new breeds of visual artists who are champions on diverse storytelling and stylistic originality.
Ayan po, palakpakan natin. Maraming salamat po, Director Albert Gutib ng Department of Labor and Employment Region 10. At dahil dyan, hello sa ating mga 555 virtual participants! Grabe, ang dami! Kaway-kaway po kayong lahat. Nasa likod ko po kayo ngayon. Ayan po, kaway-kaway po. Batiin natin ang PNP Station La Union, PNP Maritime Group, WCPD Tarlac, Dole Cordillera Autonomous Region, ChildFund Kaanib Foundation, Dole Region 11, Dole NCR. At syempre kasama din natin ang Dumaguete Maritime Police Station. Ayan po, maraming salamat sa inyo mga sir at mga ma'am sa pagsama sa amin. At syempre, kasama din natin ang CSWDO Malaybalay Bukidnon, PPO. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. At syempre sa lahat ng mga kasama natin ngayong hapon, samahan niyo po kami hanggang mamaya Simula pa lang po yan. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, sa inyong pagsama. At syempre, eto na ang pinakahinihintay nating lahat. Speaking of Dolekula, narito na po ang ating unang Dolekula entry, ating entry number 1 entitled Pangarap sa Takip Silim. Pepe is an eldest child farmer of 8 siblings who works in rice fields 5 days a week since 9 years old and exposed to scorching 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, earning only 100 pesos. Now 12, he weighs only 30 kilograms and stands 100 centimeters, stunted at his age. Like sunrise, he hopes to see his dreams come of light and hopes to end pains when horizon scatters as far as his eyes can see. Produced by Dole Bukidnon, panoorin po nating lahat. Palakpakan naman dyan at like and heart icons para sa ating Dole Bukidnon entry. Grabe ano? Siyempre, kumustahin natin ating mga participants. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Hello, kaway-kaway kayo dyan. Grabe, ang dami ninyo. At dahil dyan, maliban sa inyo, kasama din natin ngayong hapon sa ating live virtual kwentuhan. Walang iba kundi si Sir Dave Villegas ng Dole Davnor. Sir, magandang hapon.
Magandang hapon po.
Ayan, Sir Dave, magandang hapon. Kumusta po? Ano pong pakiramdam ninyo nung napanood ninyo yung ating first entry?
It was great. Actually, sana gusto na dalhin yan dito sa region. And particularly in Davao del Norte. Experience din at malaman nila ang totoong sitwasyon sa Davao del Norte. At ano ang pangyayari dito sa aming probinsya.
Ayan, Sir Dave. Sir, question ko lang po, ano po ang mga hakbang na patuloy na ginagawa ng Dole Davnor para sa ating mga batang manggagawa, lalo na po ngayong panahon ng pandemya?
Okay, in behalf of the Department of Davao del Norte Field Office, we are so thankful and blessed with the ChildFund Philippines together with the MAO for establishing a great partnership in helping us in reaching out the local government units. At the same time, up to the grassroots level, ongoing po ngayon ang ating profiling. So, from 2019 up until now, we are still on profiling. And after the profiling, we're going to have the intervention program for our child laborers na na-profile po. And for this month, we are launching the Children's Community Factory, wherein meron kaming Davnor Lakbay para sa ating 1 milyong batang malaya.
Okay, Sir Dave, maraming salamat po. Lastly, ano pong message niyo para sa ating mga kabataan at sa buong Davao del Norte?
My message on behalf again of the Department of Labor and Employment, lagi nating tandaan na ang bata dapat na bahay, na sa palaruan, and they are going to enjoy their life in school. So, hope and we pray that everyone stand for the child labor company. Again, maraming salamat, ChildFund Philippines, for this opportunity.
Ayan, maraming salamat po Sir Dave Villegas ng Dole, Davao del Norte. Dole, Davnor. Maraming salamat sir, amping mo diha. And of course, don't forget to like and share our live video streaming on the official Facebook page of BuildCA2P with our official hashtags, hashtag I stand against child labor, hashtag 2021 Wodakel sa Pilipinas, and hashtag end child labor 2021. At eto ngayon naman, balikan natin si Michelle. Michelle!
Maraming salamat EJ at sa ating mga virtual audience. Numerous studies have noted that exposure of children to work can pose serious consequences not only upon the lives and the future of the children themselves, but also upon the community and society as a whole. At isa na nga dito ang batang si Liza Marie na sa murang edad bitbit na ang malaking responsibilidad para sa pamilya. Ang kanyang kwentong nakakaantig ng damdamin, panoorin po nating lahat.
Maagang gumigising si Liza Marie upang maghanda ng makakain ng kanyang mga kapatid. Panganay sa magkakapatid si Liza, kaya siya na rin ang nakatoka sa ibang mga gawaing bahay. Sa edad na 14 na taong gulang, pasan ni Liza ang responsibilidad na tumayong isang ina sa kanyang mga kapatid. Nasa ibang bansa kasi ang kanilang nanay na isang OFW. Upang makatulong sa pamilya, nagtatrabaho sa sakahan si Liza.
Dili nako malimtan ang higayon nga nasamad ko sa garab samtang nagarab mi. Init kayo. Uhaw nako og kapoy na akong lawas.
Pangarap ni Liza na maging isang doktor upang mapagamot ang kanyang ama. Kaya pinagbutihan niya ang kanyang pag-aaral.
Nagtuo ko nga pinaagi sa edukasyon, makabuot nako ang akong damgo sa kinabuhi ug mahawas ang akong pamilya sa kalisod.
Isa si Liza sa mahigit 1,000 bata na benepisyaryo ng BuildCA2P project sa Bukidnon Province. Nakatanggap din siya ng mga school supplies upang makatulong sa kanyang pag-aaral.
Nalipay ko kay nakadawat ko og school supply pinaagi sa BuildCA2P project. Kini maghatag kanako sa paglaom ug kahayag sama sa bituon aron ipadayon ang pag-eskwela bisan pa man sa kalisod nga among nasinati karon. Ang among kalisod karon dili makababag sa akong tinguha nga bisan kuso-kuson sa mga pagsulay magpabiling mobarog aron matuman ang akong pangandoy nga mahimong usa ka doktor.
Si Liza Maria ay isa sa mga batang tinutulungan ngayon ng ChildFund BuildCA2P kasama ang ating partner organization na Kaani Foundation Incorporated. At isa nga po sa ating mga partner CSOs ng BuildCA2P project ay ang Kaani Foundation Incorporated sa Bukidnon Province. And to tell us on the accomplishments of the organization to eliminate child labor in the province, makakasama po natin si Ms. Erlinda Sayago, ang program coordinator ng Kaani Foundation Incorporated. Madayaw nga adlaw sa imuha, Ma'am Erlinda.
Maayad haaldao mga sulod. Good afternoon everyone. Kaani Foundation is a beneficiary CSO of ChildFund under BuildCA2P project. The project is implemented in the province of Bukidnon, covering 2 barangays of Malaybalay City, Barangay Silai and Mapolo, and another 2 barangays in Valencia, Barangays Dagati Davao and Kahapinan. The implementation of this one-year pilot project started February of 2021. It is the objective of the project to strengthen the mechanism of the City and Barangay Council for the protection of children engaged and at risk in crop agriculture, including their families. The partnership among local government units and line agencies were forged, enhanced, and strengthened. As a result, there were activities and outputs gained. The project sustained coordination meetings with different stakeholders and partners like the Office of the Governor, Office of the City Mayors, Barangay Councils, Department of Labor and Employment, Public Employment Service Office, Department of Social Welfare and Development Office, Department of Interior and Local Government Unit, and Department of Education. Formation of a technical working group paved for an organized training and orientation workshop attended by the members of Malaybalay City Council for the Welfare of Children and Barangay Council for the Protection of Children. The City's Social Welfare and Development Office and City Local Government Operations Office and Provincial Planning and Development Office serve as a resource person during the training. This training provided the venue for CCWC and BCPC members to better understand the rules, functions, and responsibilities. The need to be aware of the situation of child laborers and addressing their needs is a step towards the prevention and gradual elimination of the issue. The strengthening of the Barangay Council for the Protection of Children, Barangays Mapolo and Silai, will undergo several activities such as regular meetings and implementation of the identified programs and activities to ensure its functionality. The City Local Government and Operations Officer of Malaybalay City will help to capacitate all council members in performing their duties and responsibilities. The three partner barangays issued an executive order stipulating the membership of Kaanib Foundation in the Barangay Council for the Protection of Children. It is noted in the executive order that the council is responsible in ensuring the safety and welfare of the children, youth, and those who are working in crop agriculture. The project facilitated the formation of the Community-Based Child Protection Group, also known as CBCPG. They were trained on basic child labor concepts and laws, promoting child's rights and protection against worst forms of child labor. They were trained in enumerating children engaged and at risk using the Kubo Toolbox application, a free and open source tool for mobile data collection using Android-powered mobile cell phones or tablets. The CBCPG enumerated 1,320 children engaged and at risk in crop agriculture in 4 barangays. To expand the reach of the advocacy of child labor, the project partnered with local FM station for advocacy and awareness on child labor, the DXBU 104.5 FM, owned and managed by Bukidnon State University. It is a 30-minute program aired twice in a month. It is live streamed in the official Facebook page of DXBU 104.5 FM and ChildFund Philippines, and a total of 4 episodes aired as of this period. The radio program is participated by the AgriBest Youth Organization. These children were organized in partnership with the Oyagan Savers Multipurpose Cooperative and MASPEC, a confederation of cooperatives. The regular segments in the radio program are the following. Number 1, Bida Ang Bata, that showcase talents of the children. Agribusiness, parenting, health, and trivia. These children were capacitated through trainings, mentoring, and coaching of BuildCA2P. They started to organize their own segment. Education is the key to success. Thus, in support to children in school, the project provided set of school supplies to enumerated children in crop agriculture from grade 1 to 12, including those in alternative learning school. And a total of 1,277 children received the set of school supplies. The 4 barangays counterpart for transporting the school supplies from the supplier to their respective barangays. The CPCPGs spearheaded in repacking of school supplies according to grade level. They develop a claim staff for efficient and organized distribution. Since there is an interior barangay that transportation is only through single motorcycle, members of the 88th Infantry Battalion assigned in the CPO assisted for a harmonious and efficient distribution to 40 children. Forging partnership with line agencies at the national level in complement to BuildCA project resulted to better result. The Provincial Office of the Department of Labor and Employment, headed by Provincial Director Raul Valmores, distributed livelihood starter kits to 539 child labor families in the province of Bukidnon, amounting to 7,360,000. 65 of them are among the enumerated children in the 4 covered barangays. 47 of them were given through Kaanib as accredited co-partner of the Department of Labor and Employment under the Livelihood Emergency Employment Program. The City Council for the Welfare of Children, or CCWC of Malaybalay, incorporated child labor-related issues into the 3-year work and financial plan. Thus, all child labor-related activities will be funded. The Department of Interior and Local Government Provincial Office supported the project and endorses to both City Local Government Operations Officer for support, and this facilitates strong partnership with the Barangay Council. The City DILG of Malaybalay committed to assist in the orientation and training workshop at the barangay level. The project partnered with the Regional Office of the Department of Education to promote child's rights and child labor-related competencies in the curriculum. A team will be capacitated to plan, develop, and incorporate promotion of child's rights and child labor-related competencies in the curriculum. Succeeding meetings are already arranged. To better understand the situation of the children engaged in child labor, the research study in partnership with Ateneo de Davao University as technical partner helped us identify and document accurate, independent, and objective information on the nature and scope of child labor and violations of acceptable conditions of work in the supply chain. The research study is entitled Exploring Child Labor in the Supply Chain in Rice and Corn Crop Agriculture. Analysis has been done and will be presented to the community for validation soonest possible time. The result will help the local legislators to legislate ordinances and develop programs relative to prevention and elimination of child labor in crop agriculture. The Advocacy and Communication Planning is in partnership with Prove Media Foundation. They helped us develop and finalize advocacy and communication activities based on the Advocacy and Communication Plan certified by the project. Other communication activities commenced with the assistance of BuildCA2P staff, headed by the project director, Mambel Eustachio. The project engagement of Kaanib with ChildFund through the BuildCA2P project paved the way for the formulation of Kaanib Child Protection Policy. The Child Protection Policy is relevant for the organization to protect every child from any harm. Through the partnership, our linkages expanded to DOLE that encourage us to seek accreditation as accredited co-partner in the implementation of Livelihood Emergency Employment Program. As of this period, we can say that there are milestones and best practices achieved by the project. First, there were capacitated individuals and considered champions are key influencers in our advocacy to combat child labor. They are among the community-based child protection group and barangay officials. Second, With our partnership with the Department of Labor and Employment, together with our advocacy to prevent and eliminate child labor, families of child laborers who were given livelihood starter kits not only in the covered barangays but throughout the province. As partners in development work, we are challenged to work with this COVID-19 pandemic. Poverty incidence increases, working opportunities are limited, more families need livelihood intervention, children are engaged with this modular learning approach. But despite of these circumstances, we will continue to work hand in hand with other stakeholders to promote children's rights and protect them from worst forms of child labor. To all partners, we are honored and grateful to the partnership. We have gone this far because of you. To all of you, madakol salamat. I am Erlinda Sayago and I stand against child labor.
Maraming mga programa at proyekto na po ang nakatakdang ipatupad ng Kaanib at ChildFund BuildCA project para sa mga kabataan at probinsya ng Bukidnon. EJ, ano nga ba ang masasabi ng ating virtual audience sa inspiring story ni Liza Marie?
Yes, Michelle, grabe natuwa sila at na-inspire sa storya ni Liza Marie. Pero syempre, excited din sila sa mga upcoming projects na ipatutupad at inaabangan nilang lahat. At eto, speaking of excited, at grabe tuwang-tuwa ating mga virtual participants na kasama natin this afternoon. Basahin natin sila isa-isa, acknowledge lang natin. Unahin natin ang members of the International Order of Demolay. Tama, Demolay. Okay, ulitin ko po. Members of the International Order of Demolay, GAT. Gat Andres Bonifacio Chapter. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat sa pagsama. Ayan po, at syempre kasama din natin General Nakar MPS. Magandang hapon po. El Salvador Police Station. PNP Rojas. WCPD Matungaw. Ayan, maraming salamat po, kaway-kaway. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama. At syempre, may nag-comment, may nagpadala ng kanilang comment sa ating chat box. Mula yan kay... Ayan, sabi niya, great job, BuildCA2P from Jude Ryan. Salamat, Sir Jude Ryan. At eto, may nagbigay pa ng mensahe. Sabi niya, happy to be here. Congratulations, BuildCA2P from June Karoal. Ayan, maraming salamat Sir June, maraming salamat po sa mga nagpadala ng kanilang mga comments. Magpadala lang po kayo dahil mamaya babasahin namin yan ulit, babalikan ko po kayo. Pero eto, narito na po ang ating pangalawang Dolekula entry entitled Hulagway. Maria has to leave her home and struggle under another's iron hands while wrestling a life-changing decision to be separated from her family. More than just earning money, she is bonded to take risks, exploitation, and sexual abuse in order to free her family from poverty. Produced by Dole Cagayan de Oro. Ladies and gentlemen, panoorin po nating lahat. Grabe, palakpakan, virtual palakpakan at like and heart icons naman po dyan para sa Dole Cagayan de Oro. Hello sa ating mga live participants na kasama ngayong hapon. Grabe, kaway-kaway! Kaway-kaway, kaway-kaway! Ayan! Grabe, nakakatuwa na makasama namin kayo ngayong hapon. At dahil dyan, makakasama naman natin ito para sa ating live virtual kwentuhan, si Sir Norman Baloro, Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor. Hi, Sir Norman. Magandang hapon.
Hi sir, good afternoon po.
Yes.
At sa lahat po ng ating mga partisipante at mga organizers. Ngayon pa lang, congratulations and my salute.
Ayan. Sir Norman, paano ninyo na ipapadama ang pagmamahal sa ating mga bata ngayong panahon ng pandemya?
And of course, we have to make sure na ang mga lugar po nila na kung saan sila nakatira ay safe po para sa kanila. We have to make sure that the places where our children live are safe po para sa kanila na mabuhay, makakain, makainom ng tubig, at higit sa lahat makapag-aral ng mabuti.
Ayan. Grabe Sir Norman, kahit ako nakikita ko sa mga activities na ginagawa nyo rin, hindi kayo nagkukulang para magbigay ng suporta sa lahat. Sa lahat, hindi lang specifically dyan sa proyektong ginagawa ninyo. Keep it up, Sir Norman. Dahil dyan, anong mensahe ninyo para sa ating mga kabataan?
Mga mensahe ko po sa ating mga kabataan, lalo na po sa mga kapwa ko public servants or mga stakeholders po that is promoting and fulfilling the basic rights of the child. Sa mga kabataan, always honor and respect your parents. Second, continue with your studies. Mga magaganda ang mga naipakita sa kanina na mga videos. Very inspiring na hindi po sila huminto ng kanilang pag-aaral hanggang hindi nila nakamit ang kanilang mga pangarap sa buhay. At lastly, kung nakamit mo naman po ang iyong pangarap o adhikain sa buhay, you have to stay humble. Because humility is the highest form of intelligence. Maraming salamat po sa pagkakataong ito. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang ating Child Fund, BuildCA2P. Maraming salamat po.
Ayan, palakpakan. Maraming salamat, Commissioner. Thank you, Sir Norman. Ituloy niyo po yung mga nasimulang proyekto para matulungan ang lahat ng mga tao. Siyempre, maraming salamat ulit. Ayan, Sir Norman amping-amping. Ayan po si Sir Norman Baloro. Thank you so much. At ayan po, Sir Norman Baloro. Ayan, ating Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor. Sir, thank you again. And don't forget to like and share our live video streaming on the official Facebook page of BuildCA2P with our hashtags. Ayan po, official hashtags. Hashtag I Stand Against Child Labor. Hashtag 2021. Wodakel sa Pilipinas and hashtag End Child Labor 2021. Ayun po, like and share na. Ngayon naman, balikan natin si Michelle. Michelle!
Maraming salamat EJ at sa ating mga virtual participants. Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Social Development Incorporated is one of the partner CSOs of BuildCA2P project working for the protection of children, especially those involved in hard and hazardous work in Davao del Norte. And to tell us on the accomplishments of the organization to eliminate child labor in the province, makakasama po natin si Ms. Flory May Takang, ang Executive Director ng Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Social Development Incorporated. Mayong adlaw, Ms. Flory!
Mayong adlaw, Kaugmaon for Children's Rights and Social Development envisions a society respectful of children's rights. It focuses its intervention on the protection of children from various forms of abuse and exploitation, especially on the involvement of children in hard and hazardous work. Kaugmaon works in 4 provinces in Davao Region. The BuildCA2P project under the ChildFund Philippines is implemented in Davao del Norte, particularly in the municipalities of Carmen and Santo Tomas. BuildCA2P project is designed along with the 5 major programs of Kaugmaon. Organizing. Kaugmaon facilitated the creation of community-based child protection group. Currently, there are 4 CBCPG that help in creating the list of child laborers in the barangay level. This list will be the basis in providing direct support for children and their families. Apart from the CBCPG, Kaugmaon also identified volunteers that will be part of the psychosocial support group. It is recognized that amidst the pandemic, the mental health and psychosocial support is needed for the children and their families to be able to cope with the challenges brought about by the new normal. Child rights advocates is also organized. One of the challenges in mainstreaming child labor issue is that this is not seen as a problem. The child rights advocates will be the partners of Kaugmaon in advocating child labor issue in the barangay levels. Kaugmaon conducts capability building activities for partners in the community. The organized group participated in the sessions of children's rights and child labor orientation. Also, members of the BCPC participated in series of workshops on looking into the issue of children and their concerns, especially during the pandemic. Kaugmaon also conducts series of research and advocacy. Kaugmaon, under the technical support and supervision of Ateneo de Davao University, completed the 8 modules on research, data gathering, and analysis. And currently, we are finalizing the report on the involvement of children in the supply chain in crop agriculture, particularly the rice and banana. Kaugmaon also participated in various trainings, workshops, and sessions conducted by the Probe Media Foundation on how to do effective advocacy initiative in the barangay levels, municipal, and in a wider scope in general. We'll learn about the relevance in coming up with the communication and advocacy plan that will guide us in the whole advocacy activities. Kaugmaon maintains its partnership with various governmental line agencies that primarily works for the protection of children like Department of Labor, the SWD, and the ALG. Kaugmaon recognized the importance of working with these networks for the protection of children, especially those involved in hard and hazardous work. On organizational development, Kaugmaon recognized the importance of strengthening the capacity of its staff and members to effectively and efficiently work for the protection of children and realizing the vision and mission and goals of the organization. I am Flori Maytakang, the Executive Director of Kaugmaon. Together with my team, we stand against child labor.
Maraming mga programa at proyekto pa po ang nakatakdang ipatupad ng Kaugmaon at ng ChildFund BuildCA project para sa mga kabataan sa Davao del Norte. Through innovative solutions that help children living in poverty achieve their potential, ChildFund is changing the world one child at a time. Especially that millions of children are more at risk due to the impact of COVID-19. That is according to a new report by the ILO and UNICEF. Working through local partner organizations, ChildFund ensures children are protected and have what they need to achieve their potential at every age. And to affirm ChildFund's commitment to strengthen the programs for the welfare of the children around the world, let's hear the message of Ms. Anne Godard, the President and CEO of ChildFund International.
Good afternoon. My name is Anne Lynham Goddard. I'm President and CEO of ChildFund International. To our guest from USDOL, Mr. Evan Tuck, Grant Office Representative, to Mr. John Law, Charge d'Affaires, the U.S. Embassies in the Philippines, government line ministries and local government units, technical partners, CSOs, the celebrity guests, broadcast journalist Alvan DiChico, Chef Boy Lagro, and Miss Universe 2008, Catriona Gray, the participants who joined us today, sending you all my heartfelt greetings and gratitude. The number of children working globally, including in extreme hazardous roles, has been steadily dropping over the last 2 decades. Wonderful news that we should celebrate. Between 2000 and 2016, there was a net reduction of 94 million children in the labor force. I want to acknowledge that we have seen significant strides in the fight against child labor. However, the scope of the problem remains huge. I wanted to share a few data points to highlight that scope. According to the United Nations, over 218 million children between the ages of 5 and 17 are engaged in child labor worldwide. 73 million of these children work in hazardous environments that are likely to result in physical or mental injuries and harm. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic poses concerning risks of backtracking on many global development goals for children, including child labor. At the onset of COVID-19, we at ChildFund conducted a child protection rapid assessment in 12 countries. We heard from many of our staff that communities are increasingly concerned about the impact that the pandemic will have on children and families in their countries. In Asia, our teams in India and Sri Lanka have reported that children in the communities where we work are being sent into work settings in place of their older relatives in their households because they are seen to be less at risk of COVID-19. ChildFund, like many of you, are concerned that positive trends may falter and child labor may worsen, especially in fragile contexts with vulnerable children and families. These risks require urgent action to prevent and mitigate the tolls of the pandemic and what it takes on children and their families. When families experience severe financial shocks, more children enter the workforce to try to meet the needs of their families' basic needs. We, along with you all, are concerned on what this means for the world's children and especially for the Sustainable Development Goal 8.7, which seeks to end all forms of child labor by 2025. Since the onset of COVID-19, there have been significant losses in household income and expectations that children contribute financially has intensified. More children are being forced into exploitive and hazardous jobs. We know that those children already working may do so for longer hours or under worsening conditions. Gender inequalities may grow more acute within families, with girls expected to perform additional household chores and agricultural work. ChildFund's programming for children at risk of child labor is focused on supporting their learning and healthy development and fostering their capacity to protect themselves. We are interested in children's acquisition of knowledge, life skills, and social competencies that will form a foundation for lifelong learning and clear a path for their safe transition through adolescence and onward to productive, fulfilling adult lives. Our extensive history of working for improved education is matched by our deep involvement with parents and communities to act for the well-being and protection of children. Cash transfer programs are a widely used social protection measure with demonstrated results in combating child labor while enhancing income security. For low-income families in particular, these programs help to meet basic needs without resorting to child labor or other harmful practices that put children at risk. At the onset of COVID-19, our alliance quickly prioritized a global response, which redirected our work to address children's most pressing needs, including a cash transfer program, where to date, we have delivered over $6 million to 176,000 households in the communities where we work. For more than a decade, ChildFund has implemented programs to prevent child labor here in the Philippines. In 2018, ChildFund partnered with USDOL to implement the 4-year BUILD project to prevent child labor in Mindanao. Through BUILD, ChildFund is partnering with Ateneo del Davao University and Probe Media Foundation to build the capacity of CSOs in Mindanao by improving their understanding and ability to address child labor conditions in banana, coconut, corn, and rice production, where in this event, World Aid Against Child Labor 2011 highlights its progress. Through this work and in partnership with others, we have seen that many families rely on the income that their children, some as young as 5, generate by working in crop agriculture. During their work in the fields, children are exposed to physical dangers, machetes and knives, chemicals, harsh sunlight, and high temperatures, and may go 10 hours without adequate rest. So the Philippine national government, although the Philippines national government prohibits the employment of children under 15, parts of the agricultural sector still finds loopholes to hire young children. As we all know, policy implementation remains a gap across many national child protection laws globally. Civil society organizations play an important role working with local governments to implement and enforce laws and policies to minimize child labor abuses. We are honored to be partnered with the U.S. Department of Labor to promote safer communities for children and families in the Philippines. We appreciate the U.S. government's partnership towards eliminating child labor and the government's commitment to seeking sustainable, community-driven approaches to mitigating these risks to children. We are grateful to our partners in the Philippines who work alongside us every day in the communities, including the local government units, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Department of Interior and Local Government, Department of Education, and of course, the Philippine Department of Labor and Employment. Lastly, I would like to recognize and thank the incredible team at ChildFund in the Philippines who planned and hosted today's event. Your unwavering commitment to the children, families, and communities provides us continuous inspiration. Your high quality and impactful work has informed our programming in other countries around the world, as we are an organization that learns from our successes and also our challenges. I wish the event great success in advancing this critical cause for children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ann Godard, the President and CEO of ChildFund International. EJ, kumusta naman ang ating virtual audience dyan?
Yes, thank you, Michelle. Okay na okay lang sila at inaabangan nila ang susunod na entry. Dahil dyan, narito na po ang ating pangatlong Dolekula entry entitled Upok, Kinabuhi sa Ilalom sa Dagat. Nico, whose father is addicted to alcoholic drinks that forced him to work as a deep-sea fisher using a spear gun. It is a relevant story in the Philippines as an agri-fishing country where children engage in worst form of work that develops work-related physical and mental health problems. The film bridges awareness of the risks associated with performing certain work that exposes children to diseases, injuries, and death. Produced by Dole Camiguin. Panoorin po nating lahat. Grabe, palakpakan, virtual palakpakan at like and heart icons naman po para sa Dole Camiguin. Grabe, ano? Nakaka-inspire talaga yung mga kwentong ganon. At dahil dyan, magbasa tayo ng comments sa ating mga live participants na kasama natin. Pero bago yan, batiin natin yung ating mga nakasama sa Facebook. Ayan po, kasama natin yan sa Facebook si Lori Bitong from Subic MPS, Zambales PPO. Ma'am Lori, magandang hapon. At syempre kasama din natin si Elias Salazar from ILO. Ayan po, thank you so much sa pagsama. Kasama rin natin si Ma'am Christine Juan from Santa Ignacia MPS, Tarlac PPO. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat dyan sa buong Tarlac. Thank you po sa pagsama sa amin. At syempre, ito, magbasa tayo ng mga comments, mga nagpadala sa ating chat box. Ito, ayan po, may nagsabi, padayon sa advocacy. Ayan, thank you so much sa mga nagpadala po ng kanilang comments. Keep sending your comments sa ating chat box dahil mamaya po, babasahin po naming lahat yan. And to make our celebration extra special, isang inspiring performance ang handog ng isang ina at Dabawenyo artist para sa ating mga bata. She's a singer-songwriter who writes songs about culture, nature, and social issues. She has 4 self-produced albums and was part of Brillante Mendoza's movie, Mindanao, which is also the country's entry for Best International Feature Film for the 93rd Academy Awards or Oscars. Wow, grabe, ang galing! Ito po, singing her original composition, Mundong Luntian. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Maan Chua. Let's raise 3 children, wild spirits with strong roots who bend but don't break. Children whose arms make shelters and hearts are home to little birds singing out for the sheer joy of it. Maraming salamat po, Miss Maan Chua. Maraming salamat. Grabe, napaka-meaningful talaga na inyong kanta. Virtual palakpakan, syempre, at heart icons para kay Miss Maan Chua. Ayan, isanda. At dahil dyan, balikan ulit natin si Michelle. Michelle!
Maraming salamat, EJ at Miss Maan Chua. The new report by the International Labour Organization and UNICEF points to a significant rise in the number of children aged 5 to 11 years old in child labor, who now account for just over half of the total global figure. Tungayan natin ang kwento ng batang si Mohaimen mula sa North Cotabato na sa murang edad ay walang kapaguran sa pag-aaruga sa kanyang pamilya.
Panganay sa 3 magkakapatid si Mohaimen. Kaya sa kanya na ipasa ang responsibilidad sa mga gawaing bahay at pag-aaruga ng kanyang mga lolo at lola.
Kumatay si ama na siyawa ko rago na si ina na miyang aroma sa salakaw na ayagang pat siya walay na swapo ako na gusto babu ako.
Tuwing umaga ay hawak-hawak ni Mohaimen ang halo upang magbayo ng palay na isasaing na bigas. Nakatoka rin sa kanya ang pag-iigib ng tubig. Sa murang edad ay pinasok nito ang gawain sa bukid tulad ng pagtatanim ng mais, saging at kung ano-ano pa, depende sa panahon ng taniman at anihan ng mga produkto. Pasan-pasan ang knapsack sprayer ay nilalakbay ni Mohaimen ang mahigit 1 kilometrong layo at tatahakin pababa ang madalistis na daan upang kumuha ng tubig mula sa bukal na paghahaluan ng kemikal na gagamiting spray sa maisan. Pasan-pasan ang sprayer na may lamang tubig at kemikal ay aakyatin naman ito pabalik kung saan ito magtatrabaho. May mga araw rin sa plantasyon ng saging siya nagtatrabaho. Dala-dala ang karit, nangunguha naman ng sigatoka at nag-i-spray ng kemikal sa mga bunga nito sa mahigit 2 hektaryang sagingan ng kanyang mga tiyuhin o sa may mga malawak na lupain sa kanilang sityo.
Amay kami apa sa dami mga nerbisyo kamay sa may na proran na may sa kuda na Kaya may pagkuitan sa sirila na may ko miyatay sa kuda ka may kami alilid na maragamban sa ulalan at kami sama ni pangawi doon ko kamais.
Tulad ng ibang bata, gusto rin sana ni Mohaimen na makapaglaro.
Na may kami alakan yung mga padakan na mga wata di malaro na pagkatalik udang uka kaya kita ko.
Ngunit sa ngayon, prioridad niya na makatulong sa kanyang pamilya. Ngunit sa kabila ng lahat ng pinagdadaanan ni Mohaimen ay buo ang kanyang pananampalataya kay Allah. Hawak-hawak ang pag-asang mairaraos din ang kanilang sitwasyon sa buhay. Si Mohaimen ay isa sa mga batang tinulungan ngayon ng ChildFund BuildCA2P project at ng partner organization Hauman. Isa rin siya sa mga nakatanggap ng mga ipinamahaging school supplies. Hiling ni Mohaimen para sa kanyang pamilya na matulungan sila na magkaroon ng kabuhayang pangmatagalan.
Association Incorporated is one of the partner CSOs of BuildCA2P that's set to provide notable assistance and unwavering commitment for the development of every Filipino children, especially in the province of North Cotabato. And to tell us on the accomplishments of the organization to eliminate child labor in the province, makakasama po natin si Mr. Joselito Nunez, ang Executive Director ng Hauman Association Incorporated. Magandang araw po, Sir Lito.
Halad Uma Alang sa Nasod Association Incorporated is a non-stock non-profit organization operating in Region 12 and neighboring regions including BARM. It is a Level 2 accredited Social Welfare and Development Agency or SWADA awarded by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, a partner of Department of Education and Department of Labor, and at the same time a partner of the Department of Interior and Local Government through the different LGUs in our coverage area. It is a long-time partner of ChildFund Philippines, for sponsorship and child development and protection programs for more than 3 decades. The BuildCA project of ChildFund in partnership with USDOL, where Hauman is one of the CSO beneficiaries and partner, is implemented since 2019 in Mindanao. There has 3 components. One is the research, second is the advocacy, and the third is direct implementation. It is intended for 3 provinces, the Davao del Norte, Bukidnon, and North Cotabato, which aims to improve the capacity of target CSOs to better understand and address child labor and promote acceptable conditions of work in crop agriculture, specifically in banana, coconut, rice, and corn in these 3 provinces of Mindanao. Child labor is one of the child protection issues that needs to be addressed in a multi-stakeholders collaboration and focused program approach. With the financial assistance of the funding donor and the technical support of Ateneo, the Davao University, and Probe Media Foundation, there are notable accomplishments that were documented as up-to-date and worthy to be shared. One is for research, with the project outcome of improved capacities of target CSOs to identify and document accurate, independent, and objective information on the nature and scope of child labor and violations of acceptable conditions of work for children in the supply chain. In the context of corn and coconut, the organization has attended series of sessions, modules for the staff to be oriented on the acceptable tools to be used and equip themselves with necessary skills in research processes and conducting key IIs, IDIs in the 4 identified barangays in Alyuasan and Alamada, all in the province of Cotabato. There were 32 informants whom we invited. The results have been collated to form the analysis on the involvement of child laborers in the supply chain of corn and coconut crop agriculture. These 2 separate analyses will be shared to the informants to validate and confirm the data and then improve the constructs that have been based on the gathered facts. Next is on advocacy. The organization, partnership with ChildFund, has already established and launched a radio advocacy program called Batang Bida and prior to the BuildCA project. This radio program has incorporated the Child Labor Project advocacy on understanding the Republic Act 9231, or otherwise known as an act providing for the elimination of the worst forms of child labor and affording stronger protection for the working child. It is amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7610, as amended, otherwise known as a Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. This advocacy and awareness strategy has also included in our promotion of acceptable conditions of work for children. There are also topics such as child rights, LCPC functionality, effects of child labor to the total well-being of children, among others that are lined up as weekly advocacy themes. It is aired over the radio for the wider reach and FB Live for much wider scope and was anchored by our comms focal. The analytics prompted us that we are gaining much audiences and that our organization has improved its visibility that could have potential support from various agencies and would-be partners. A number of local and national guests have been invited and shared their expertise, thoughts virtually on how to get rid or prevent increasing number of child laborers and do necessary response mechanism to address child labor issues. Guests were from TESDA, DOLE, Academ, ChildFund Philippines, Child Protection Specialist, and also ChildFund Asia Region, who is also a child protection advocate, Sir Mark Dasco. ChildFund BuildCA has initiated the Child Labor Day Savings Children from Hazardous work on May 1, 2021, where the organization has contributed to social media contents and statements of support and position with other influencers from the local to the international who are against child labor in the Philippines and the world. There is an ongoing short video production being developed with technical assistance from a well-known Mindanao TV manager. One such output is already shared in the BuildCA2P page. It shows the real situation of a child labor in upland areas of Cotabato. Her real story is so touching that brings a lot of realization for the duty bearers and the key stakeholders. When it comes to COVID-19, in year 2020, when the COVID-19 broke out and that was supposedly the time for direct implementation, there was a realignment of project activities and have been shifted to response for COVID. With the stringent health protocols and risk management and assessment installed by the organization based on the contingency plan and the continuity plan, the COVID response items have been delivered to intended 1,208 recipients in 4 barangays of the municipalities of Alyosan and Alamada, all in North Cotabato. These items are composed of 1 sack of rice, food items, PPEs such as face masks, alcohol, face shields for the partner LGUs and for our clients and beneficiaries. For direct implementation, with the recent implementation, there were 4 major activities that we implement. These are support to education, strengthening of LCPCs or the Local Council for the Protection of Children, mental health and psychosocial support, and psychological first aid or MHPSS PFA, and the livelihood support for families of child laborers. There were 1,087 children, both at risk and engaged, have received school supplies such as intermediate papers, ball pen, pencils, sharpeners, erasers, rulers, scissors, crayons, glue, art papers, bags, and as well as PPEs including alcohol to the children at different levels. This is done to support children in complying their modular classes even during pandemic. Strengthen collaboration and network for child protection. Through the BuildCA project, series of courtesy calls and collaborative meetings have been conducted with DOLE, LGUs, PESO, MSWDs, and stakeholders to gain support and inclusion of the program to the respective plan. This collaboration effort, particularly on child labor, has also been strengthened in the municipality of Alyosan and had begun in the municipality of Alamada as our new LGU partner, where resolution has been approved to include the organization as member of the Local Council for the Protection of Children. At the barangay level, there were 4 community-based child protection groups, or what we call CBCPGs, being formed with 46 total members to help monitor the child labor project as well as the reporting pathways in their communities. They are trained to use the Kobo Collect applications that are installed in the Android tablets as a new platform and strategy to enumerate and easily monitor children as to their status. With this initiative, combating child labor and addressing this pressing child protection issue is tough and formidable. However, when many come together with one purpose and steadfastly make a stand, then child labor can be reduced. Thereby, we can say that we are part of decreasing child laborers and contribute to 1 milyong batang malaya goal. It is with deeper understanding, appreciation, and then taking action that we can address child labor issue. We are proud that we are part of this endeavor. I am Mr. Joselito Nunez, together with my organization, and we stand against child labor.
Maraming mga mga programa at proyekto pa po ang nakatakdang ipatupad ng Hauman at ng ChildFund BuildCA Project para sa mga kabataan sa North Cotabato. EJ, kumusta naman ang ating virtual audience?
Yes, Michelle, masaya pa rin sila at nag-aabang pa rin para sa mga susunod na entries. Pero bago tayo mag-proceed para sa ating susunod na entry, batiin muna natin yung ating mga live virtual participants na kasama natin ngayong hapon, ang PSWDO North Cotabato. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. WCPD Ibaan, Batangas. WCPD Bulacan. Ayan po, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa amin. At syempre, magbasa tayo ng mga comments, mga nagpadala ng kanilang comments sa ating chat box sa Zoom. Ito po, sabi, congratulations Hauman and to Sir Lito as our PCPC Chair. Mula yan sa PSWDO North Cotabato. Ayan, congratulations sa Hauman. At syempre, ito, hindi lang sila, may nagpadala pa ng comment. Sabi, thank you very much for this informative event. Mula yan sa PNP Ilocos Sur, Gregorio del Pilar Station. Maraming salamat po sa inyong mga sir at mga ma'am sa inyong pagsama sa amin sa ating event ngayong hapon. At gaya na aking nasabi, narito na po ang ating pang-apat. Ayan po, pang-apat na Dolecula entry entitled Sagwan ng Pangarap. Kaloy, a 15-year-old boy, grew up in a poor family in Lanao del Norte that pushed him to become a fisherfolk as he was exposed to the harsh reality from a young age. Not minding the danger as he faces the sea of water while working, he still sends himself to school. Eventually, his studies became problematic as he finds it hard to balance both work and school at the same time. Will this close the door towards him achieving his dream of finishing his studies? Ladies and gentlemen, produced by Dole Lanao del Norte. Panoorin po nating lahat. There you have it! Virtual palakpakan at like and heart icons naman para sa Dole Lanao del Norte. Grabe, ang galing ano? Grabe yung production, ang galing. So tingnan natin kung ano kaya ang masasabi ng ating mga participants na nakapanood. Pero mamaya, babasahin namin mamaya yung mga komento. Pero eto, don't forget to like and share our live video streaming on the official Facebook page of BuildCA2P with our official hashtags. Ito po, hashtag I stand against child labor, hashtag 2021 Wodakel sa Pilipinas, and hashtag end child labor 2021. Eto, balikan natin si Michelle. Michelle?
The new report by ILO and UNICEF warns that globally, 9 million additional children are at risk of being pushed into child labor by the end of 2022 as a result of the pandemic. As a response, the United States Department of Labor actualized initiatives that seek to promote positive and safe work experiences for the young workers and foster a fair global playing field for workers around the world by enforcing trade commitments, strengthening labor standards, and combating international child labor, forced labor, and human trafficking. And it is an honor to have in our virtual event the Grant Officer Representative of the United States Department of Labor, Mr. Evan Took, to give us an inspirational message.
June 12th, World Day Against Child Labor, we come together to raise awareness of the exploitation of millions of children engaged in child labor and encourage action to ensure that children around the world have the opportunity to learn and grow. Good afternoon. My name is Evan Tuck, and I'm representing the United States Department of Labor's Office of Child Labor, Forced Labor, and Human Trafficking. It is an honor to join you today in commemoration of World Day Against Child Labor. I would especially like to thank ChildFund and the Department of Labor and Employment for organizing this event of great significance. The U.S. Department of Labor's Bureau of International Labor Affairs has a strong partnership with the Philippines, rooted in our commitment to combat child labor. Our partnership was first established in 1995, and since then, examples of our work include efforts to eliminate child labor in artisanal and small-scale gold mines, to improve the capacity of the national government to implement the National Action Plan Against Child Labor, and to support social services delivery for child domestic workers. While significant progress has been made over the past 2 decades in reducing child labor, both in the Philippines and globally, the complex challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic threaten to push millions more vulnerable children into child labor. We call for action to address these challenges and realize the goal of child labor eradication once and for all. The global crisis has changed the ways we look at the world. It demands that we approach the problem of child labor with increased urgency, new ideas, and a renewed willingness to work together toward a common goal. In responding to this call for action, we are particularly proud of the great work accomplished by the U.S. Department of Labor funded BuildCA2P project, implemented by ChildFund in partnership with civil society organizations and local government agencies. The BuildCA2P project works to build the capacity of Filipino civil society to more effectively detect and combat child labor and other labor abuses in the crop agricultural sector in Mindanao. One initiative in particular, implemented by BuildCA2P, embodies the World Day Against Child Labor theme. In response to the devastating impact of the pandemic in the Philippines, the project quickly realigned priorities to serve those most vulnerable among Mindanao's population, children and families of child laborers. The objective of the COVID response was to improve the coping capacities of children and caregivers in reducing stress and anxieties caused by the pandemic. Not only was the objective attained, but also 3,297 child laborers from 13 villages in Mindanao benefited from the project's efforts. We thank ChildFund, their partner organizations, and the local government for their hard work and commitment to combat and eradicate child labor. Despite the challenges we face, we all need to do our part. It is more important than ever for all countries to recommit to the goal of ensuring that no child is exploited or placed in harm's way as a result of child labor. If we work together, we can all make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Evan Tuck, the Grant Officer Representative of the United States Department of Labor. Meanwhile, the United States and the Philippine government has built a solid foundation reflected in various efforts aimed at eliminating all forms of exploitation against children. Both governments are confident that the partnership will become even more effective at combating many forms of abuse against children in the years to come. And to give us an inspiring message, it's an honor to have in our virtual event the Charge d'Affaires of the United States Embassy in the Philippines, Mr. John Law.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for supporting this important event. The United States and the Philippines have a long-standing friendship based on shared values and deep ties between our societies and our peoples. We are so honored to participate in this event commemorating the World Day Against Child Labor. And we're also so honored to support the Philippines' continued outstanding commitment to combating child labor. According to estimates from the International Labor Organization, there are 2.1 million child laborers aged 5 to 17 years in the Philippines. The Building Capacity, Awareness, Advocacy, and Programs Project, or BuildCA2P, funded by the U.S. Department of Labor and implemented by ChildFund, seeks to address this issue in the agricultural sector in Mindanao by building the capacity of civil society organizations to prevent and combat child labor. BuildCA2P also partners with local government officials in the Department of Labor and Employment and other agencies to support the implementation of laws and policies combating child labor. We commend the Philippine government's outstanding efforts to combat and eradicate child labor. This year's World Day Against Child Labor theme, which coincides with the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, calls for immediate action to eradicate child labor. Increased economic insecurity caused by the COVID-19 pandemic threatens the progress made to combat child labor as a result of a decline in household income. And it's clear that we need to take strong and swift action now. The U.S. Embassy remains a committed partner in achieving the complete eradication of child labor, not only here in the Philippines, but globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Losh, our JD Affair of U.S. Embassy in the Philippines. Balikan naman natin si EJ na masayang nakikipagkwentuhan sa ating virtual audience. EJ!
Yes, Michelle, sobrang saya pa rin na ating virtual room. At syempre, kasama pa rin natin ating mga virtual participants. Hello po sa inyong lahat. Kumusta kayo dyan? Okay lang ba kayo dyan? Send thumbs up. Ayan. Sa ating chat box. Okay. Dahil sobrang saya natin, eto, nandito na po. Narito na ating panglimang Dolecula entry entitled Cuaresta. Dodo, a 15-year-old Cuaresta who is deprived of education. What was supposed to be a typical routine for his age turns out to be a frustration in his stone quarry work, taking account of the responsibilities of his family that he needs to carry on his heavy shoulders. That started at his young stage. Produced by Dole Misamis Occidental. Panoorin po nating lahat. Alright, virtual palakpakan at like and heart icons naman dyan para sa ating entry mula sa Dole Misamis Occidental. Pero ngayon, balikan muna natin si Michelle. Michelle?
In the wake of an increasing number of projects and programs alleviating the plight of children and combating child labor, research on girls and boys who work and who are vulnerable to child labor has flourished. That's why ChildFund BuildCA2P and our partner CSOs Kaanib, Kaugmaon, and Hauman with Ateneo de Davao University, one of our technical partners, have taken a lead role in researching the worst forms of child labor in crop agriculture in Mindanao, and in bringing to our attention the inhuman and intolerable circumstances in which thousands of children work, often illegitimate activities hidden from public view and pursual. May I now invite Dr. Christine Diaz, the Director of the Social Research Training and Development Office of the Ateneo de Davao University, to give us a preview of the research conducted by our partner CSOs. Good afternoon, Dr. Christine.
Good day. I am Dr. Christine S. Diaz, and I'm going to present the research primer on the supply chain study on child labor in crop agriculture in Mindanao. This project is under ChildFund in partnership with Hauman, Kaanib, Kaugmaon, and the Social Research Training and Development Office of Ateneo de Davao University. Before the conduct of the study, several trainings were provided by the Social Research Training and Development Office of Ateneo de Davao University to the 3 partner CSOs. 8 modules were crafted in order to capacitate the partner CSOs in the area of research. Module 1 tackled the key concepts in research as a springboard for conducting supply chain study on child labor in crop agriculture. Module 2 is about problem identification. Module 3 is about the writing of the review of related literature. And Module 4 tackled the writing of the methodology. Module 5 focused on the development of research instruments. Module 6 tackled the refining and finalization of research design and data collection tools, while Module 7 focused on data collection and documentation skills, and Module 8 focused on data analysis, summary of findings, and implications of the study. After the data collection, coaching and mentoring sessions were provided to partner CSOs by Ateneo de Davao University SRTDO. The partner CSOs were asked how to do the processing of qualitative data, which involves several steps such as coding, categorization, and thematization of data. They were asked to write and present their drafts. Comments and suggestions were provided to the partner CSOs for the enhancement of their research outputs. Now, here are the parameters of inquiry. The study looked into the following. First, views on child labor and the perceived factors that contribute to it. Second, general demographic characteristics of children participating in the agricultural supply chain. Third, location of the child laborers in the supply chain in the identified crop agriculture. Fourth, experiences of child laborers in the supply chain in the identified crop agriculture in terms of demand and supply factors, supply chain environment, key players and entities involved, processes, hazards, benefits, phases, activities, and channels, as well as the supply chain activity, products, and services. And lastly, the study also looked into the good practices, challenges, and recommendations in addressing child labor issues in agricultural supply chain. Now, in terms of the research design, the study is qualitative and descriptive. As a qualitative study, it sought to analyze child labor by looking at the experiences of the children engaged in the supply chain of the identified crop agriculture. As a descriptive research, it aimed to increase understanding on the experiences, thoughts, and voices of children and other stakeholders on the phenomenon of child labor in crop agriculture. The research will help shed light on the lived experiences of child laborers with an appreciation of the COVID-19 pandemic situation and its implications. For the research participants, 60 child laborers and 36 stakeholders were interviewed. For the research locale, the study was conducted in selected barangays in Bukidnon, North Cotabato, and Davao del Norte, Philippines. For the data gathering procedure, the data were collected through in-depth interviews and key informant interviews. Data collection was done from November 2020 up to February 2021. And of course, in the conduct of the study, health and safety protocols were followed. The collected data were transcribed verbatim. Thematic analysis was used to organize transcribed data into trends and themes. Such was done by coding and categorization of data. A phenomenological approach was used to look the meanings and perspectives that the children and the key informants attach to experiences on child labor in the supply chain in the identified crop agriculture. For the ethical considerations, ethical protocols were implemented before, during, and after the conduct of the study. The researchers saw to it that the parents' consent and the assent of the child laborers were secured. The respondents were also assured of confidentiality, privacy, and anonymity. And of course, the adherence to COVID-19 health protocols were strictly observed. Now, here are some of the emerging patterns or trends from the research findings. There are varying views on child labor, and there are economic and cultural factors that contribute to the prevalence of child labor in the agricultural supply chain. In terms of the location of the agricultural supply chain, they participate in various stages of the production process, and those tasks present many hazards such as exposure to sharp tools, risk and injuries, exposure to extreme environmental conditions, and agrochemicals, including inorganic fertilizers and pesticides. The supply factors are the perceived causes, circumstances, or conditions that trigger the involvement of child laborers. The supply factors emerging from the data are low household income, poverty, limited access to education, inadequate agricultural technology, traditions, and cultural factors. The demand factors in the context of the study refer to the perceived causes, circumstances, or conditions in the supply chains. The demand factors constitute cheap labor, docility of children, limited supply of adult workers, meeting of quotas or targets, minimizing of cost, and nimbleness of children. Based on the child laborers' experiences, there are key players and entities involved in the supply chain in crop agriculture, and examples of them are the farm workers, lead man, farm owners, and the relatives of the child laborers themselves. The child laborers in the supply chain in crop agriculture were adversely affected by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Based on the interviews, there has been an increase of participation in farm work involving child laborers. The findings and analysis of data provide a rich source of empirical evidence, which can be used for policy recommendations in addressing child labor in the supply chain in crop agriculture. It offers relevant stakeholders important insights in deepening their understanding of the phenomenon of child labor in Mindanao. The results of this study have implications on existing literature and future studies on child labor. Moreover, the study has certain practical implications on the issue of child labor in the Philippines in general and in Mindanao in particular. The findings and recommendations of this study can be used to influence existing practices on child labor elimination initiatives of government and private institutions. The data in the study may be used in mainstreaming child labor agenda into the programs of the local government units, specifically the barangay or municipal council for the protection of children and other local special bodies for child protection. Now, here are the recommendations. Strengthen interagency coordination to formulate policies, guidelines, framework, and programs or projects for the effective enforcement of Republic Act No. 9231 and related laws. Establish and maintain effective monitoring mechanisms to review and track progress to end child labor. Ensure the creation and/or strengthening of child labor committees at various levels and the barangay councils for the protection of children or related structures. Conduct advocacy campaign and massive information dissemination on the existence of Republic Act No. 9231 and related laws and the various issues and problems attendant to child labor, and maintain a knowledge, a database management system on child labor that ensures the sharing of relevant data and information, foster communication, improve program monitoring, and automate child labor case referrals. And lastly, provision of educational assistance to child laborers and livelihood services or income-generating projects to their families. This strategy will help remove and protect children from the worst forms of child labor and prevent those at risk of engagement in similar activities. That's it. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you very much, Doc Christine. We must not lose sight of the special challenges children engaged in child labor face and take extra steps to help them learn and prepare for the future. Samantala, noong May 9 sa ating Vote for Our Future live virtual event, formal nating inlunsad ang Pledge of Support for a Child Labor-Free Philippines. Isa po itong online at offline campaign to show public support for a collective effort to end child labor. Nagagalak at nagpapasalamat po ang buong BuildCA2P family sa inyong ipinakitang pagmamahal at suporta sa ating kampanya para sa ating minamahal na mga bata. Narito po si Ms. Belia Eustaquio, ang Project Coordinator of BuildCA2P Project, to keep us in the picture of our pledge of commitment for a Child Labor-Free Philippines campaign. Good afternoon, Ms. Bel.
Good afternoon to our distinguished guests and participants. Despite the challenges brought about by COVID-19, BuildCA2P Project was able to enumerate children in the provinces of Bukidnon, Davao del Norte, and North Cotabato. This was done through the CSOs and the community volunteers. We call them Community-Based Child Protection Group, or CBCPG. The CBCPG used the cell phone app called Kobo, and they were trained how to conduct enumeration using the said app. As of May 31, 2021, a total of 2,774 child laborers were enumerated, where 59% are boys and 41% are girls. It's good to note that even in COVID times, these children managed to continue their schooling, evident by 86% said that they are continuing their studies. In terms of working involvement of these children, 60% are engaged in child labor and 40% are at risk. Majority of these children, or 41% of them, works in corn farm, while 29% in banana, 22% in rice, and 3% in coconut farms. For the children who toil in corn farm, 31% of them are involved in harvesting, 20% into fertilizer application, and 12% are into planting. It is alarming to know that there are 100 to 200 children involved in fertilizer application for corn and banana farms. It is also notable that in both corn farm and rice farm, a range of 200 to 300 children are involved in harvesting job, while for banana, more than 100 children are involved in each task such as weeding, de-leafing, and fertilizer application. When the children were asked on the hazard they were exposed with, more than half of them, or 62%, said that they are exposed to extreme weather condition. Nearly 50% declared that they are exposed to physical injury, while 38% admitted that they are exposed to chemicals. Still, 33% expressed that they felt some possible health complication, and 14% affirmed that they are working in accident-prone areas. This situation of children prompts us to do more. And as we move forward, we encourage each and everyone to continue work with us in your simple way to fight child labor and promote acceptable conditions of work. ChildFund, through its BuildCA project, will sustain our advocacy work through the Bida ang Bata talk show, live stream every Friday in BuildCA official Facebook page. Moreover, together with Ateneo de Davao University and Pro Media Foundation, and most importantly our CSO partners, we will continue to facilitate the following initiatives in collaboration with concerned government agencies and local government units. First, strengthening the local council for the protection of children. 2, reactivate and contextualize the referral mechanism, especially now that COVID-19 virus is at hand. Third, direct assistance to the child laborers and their families by providing educational support and livelihood opportunity for their parents. Also, we will collaborate with DepEd to support the enhancement of the delivery of blended learning, especially in remote barangays. Likewise, we will work with DepEd to explore the possibility of inclusion and mainstreaming the concept of child protection and child labor to the curriculum. Fourth, influence and support the efforts of the LGUs to modify and/or develop local policies in the context of COVID to sustain the campaign. And lastly, we encourage you to listen and follow the CSO's radio program in Bukidnon and North Cotabato live stream on their official Facebook page. In line with all of this, BuildCA launched the Pledge of Commitment last May 9, 2021, where we encourage all people to express support to act now to end child labor. To date, more than 1,000 have signed through online campaign and traditional signing mode. Let's watch this. Thank you all very much to all who signed and participated. All these efforts aim to support the 2021 theme for World Day Against Child Labor, Act Now, End Child Labor. Consequently, it will contribute to the Philippine government campaign on 1 million Batang Malaya by 2025. All this will not be possible without the support of our funder, the U.S. Department of Labor, and we are so blessed and fortunate to have us today our Grant Officer Representative, Mr. Evan Tak, together with a representative from U.S. Embassy. Sir Evan, thank you very much for your gracing this special event. Our gratitude too is being extended to DOLE from national to regional and provincial levels, specifically in Regions 10, 11, and 12. You are always beside and behind us in this endeavor. Very special thanks to Region 10, led by Regional Director Albert Gutib, for their inspiration that your team have extended to the realization of World Day Against Child Labor 2021. And to all of who celebrate with us today, we are very grateful for the support in this important and novel occasion. World Day Against Child Labor is not just today, June 12, but should be a daily responsibility to act if and when there are circumstances where children are deprived of their rights to enjoy their childhood and be educated. I believe that we all agree that children deserve to grow in safe and protective environment and entitled to have a responsive support system. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po, Ms. Bell. Kaya naman, let's all work together to eliminate child labor, not only in the country, but all over the world. We all have a special role to play in nurturing the children of our community, because supporting children is something we can all do together. EJ, kumusta ang kwentuhan kasama ang ating mga virtual participants?
Yes, Michelle, grabe, nakakatuwa dahil oras na 6:31 PM na, pero buhay na buhay pa rin ang ating mga virtual participants na kasama natin ngayong gabi. Ayan, maraming salamat po sa pagstay ninyo. Dahil dyan, narito na po ang ating pang-anim at huling Dolekula entry entitled Karga-Kargang Alaala. 14-year-old Victor, whose nightmare prays his painful journey as a child laborer, is carried even today at his 30s. The boy, transformed to adult, must have escaped from monstrous past that caused his partial disability. Produced by Dole Misamis Oriental, panoorin po nating lahat. Ayan po, virtual palakpakan at like and heart icons para naman po sa ating sa Dole, sa buong team ng Dole Misamis Oriental. Maraming salamat po. Ayan po, grabe, nakaka-inspire talaga yung huling kwento ng ating huling entry. At sa lahat po ng mga participants na nag-submit ng kanilang entries, maraming salamat po for a job well done. At iyan na nga po ang ating 6 na official entries para sa Dolekula Film Festival 2021. Again, maraming salamat. Dolekula is an advocacy to promote participation of program implementers at the provincial level, boosting the value of children's rights and family welfare among parents of child laborers. Ang lahat ng mga Dolecula short film entries na ating nasaksihan ay gawa po mismo ng mga focal officers ng Department of Labor and Employment Region 10 na sumailalim sa video advocacy training ng BuildCA2P noong buwan ng Marso. Kaya naman dahil dyan, deserve po nilang lahat ang ating virtual palakpakan na ibibigay sa kanila. At syempre may kasamang wow icons! Grabe, palakpakan. Grabe, sobrang galing ng lahat ng mga entries na binigay ninyo. At maya-maya lamang po ay malalaman na natin ang mga winners sa ating Dolecula Film Festival 2021. At dahil dyan, kumustahin natin muli ating mga virtual participants na kasama. Kaway-kaway kayo dyan. Kaway-kaway, ayan. Diyan lamang kayo ha, dahil mamaya babalikan namin kayo ulit. Kumustahin namin kayo ulit bago natin i-announce yung ating mga winners. Dahil dyan, balikan muna natin si Michelle.
Idol natin siya sa kusina dahil sa kanyang mga nakakatakam at nakakabilib na recipes, pati na din ang kanyang mga nakakaaliw na moves sa pagluluto. Pero liit sa kaalaman ng karamihan na bago siya makaranas ng kasikatan at maginhawang buhay, dumaan muna siya sa matinding hirap bilang isang child laborer sa kanyang probinsya sa Davao de Oro. Kaya naman isang karangalan na makasama natin sa ating virtual event upang ibahagi ang kanyang bittersweet journey to success, ang ating idol sa kusina, Chef Boy Logro. Mayang hapon, Chef Boy!
Hi, good afternoon. Ako po si Chef Boy Logro, idol sa kusina, and of course naman yung tinatawag na the first Filipino executive chef sa ating bansa. Yan. Alam niyo po, nagsimula din ako na bilang sa probinsya namin kasi mahirap lang talaga ang aming pamilya. Naging ako, parang Muro Ami. Alam niyo Muro Ami, yung kasama ako ng aking mga kasama na nakahubad kami and then dilaw na yung buhok ko dahil po ay mahirap lang po talaga ang buhay namin sa pamilya ko. Ang edad ko po noon is about 10 to 11 years old. Talagang naghihirap po kami. And then after that, from Bisaya sa amin Leyte, Biliran, ako po ay nagpunta ng Maynila. Doon talaga napakahirap po ang inabot ko kasi po nag-apply ako or dinala ko ng tiyuhin ko bilang houseboy sa Quiapo. Ayan po, naging houseboy naman po ako and then yun nga po all around. Nagbubunot ka ng sahig and then nagdi-dishwasher. Ang edad ko po noon is 13 years old sa Quiapo po. Batang-bata pa po ako. Dangan nga lang, dahil nga sa kahirapan, yun tiniis ko po. Grabe yung inabot ko. Inabot ko yung hindi magandang pagmaltrato, yung sinisigawan ka, dahil hindi ko naman naintindihan yung lingwahe. Tagalog, hindi ko po naintindihan dahil galing ako ng Bisaya. So talagang Bisaya ang aking lingwahe. English, hindi rin po dahil ako po ay talagang elementary graduate lamang. Hindi po ako nakapag-aral ng high school kasi po mahirap ng aming pamilya. Sa Biliran, island po kami. Kung wala kang kinikitang isda o nahuhuli, wala kang kakainin sa araw na yon. Kaya nung nandun ako sa Maynila, yun po, back to houseboy, nagsikap po ako at sawa ng Diyos naman, nagustuhan ako ng amo ko kahit na mahirap ang trabaho. Houseboy, nagdi-dishwasher, nag-janitor. Sobrang inabot po ng buhay ko na batang-bata pa ako. Akala ko wala nang katapusan. Kasi hindi po ako nakagraduate po Ako elementary graduate lamang. Subalit po sa pagsisikap, natuto naman akong nagluto. Kaya doon ako natuto sa Quiapo. Tinuruan ako ng amo ko na gumawa ng siupaw, gumawa ng mga stir fry, yung malumi, pansit. Hanggat naging natuto akong magluto ng pagkain. Ano po ako, bilang houseboy pa rin ang title ko, then cook helper, and then janitor, all around pa rin. Then lumipas po ang 2 taon o 3 taon, ako po ay lumipat sa Makati. Doon po nagsimula. Nag-apply po ako bilang, ang edad ko po noon, naging sa 3 years, naging 16 to 17 years old po ako. Doon ako nag-apply sa Makati, natanggap naman sana ako, pero yun nga, napakahirap kasi sabi niya, you are not graduate from high school, elementary ka lang, so hindi po pwedeng maging cook sa isang restaurant sa Makati. Nalumpo ako, parang nanlumo, parang wow, ang buhay ko parang Ang hirap talaga na walang pinag-aralan. Subalit po, nung sabi sa akin, okay, gusto mo pumasok, houseboy ka. Balik ulit ako sa houseboy and then dishwasher. Kaya tinanggap ko ulit kasi Makati. Sabi Makati, maganda. So at least, pinanindigan ko, pinakita ko talaga sa aking executive chef na magaling ako magluto, magaling ako magtrabaho. At na-promote naman ako after 3 months. Doon nagsimula. Naging cook na ako hanggat sa titulado na ako, naging certified na cook na ako. Doon nagsimula. And afterwards, transfer to one another. Hanggat sa punta ko ng Matabong Beach Club, hanggang naging chef ako ulit. Executive chef ako, batang-bata pa, age of about siguro 19 to 20 years old, executive chef na ako. Doon po ay walang hadlang. Kaya sabi ko sa mga kabataan, kung tayo magsikap, tayo masipag, sige lang, wag lang tayong sabihin na papagod or kasi ang aking philosophy sa sarili ko, my attitude is 100%. Kailangan yung attitude natin, lagi ka lang magpakumbaba. Huwag kang yung sabing lumalaban ka kung kanino. Hindi. Ako yung lagi nagpakumbaba. Kahit nahamakin ako na maitim na lalaki, walang kwentang, walang pinag-aralan, sabi ko, kaibigan, chef, hindi tayo mag-aaway. Tanggap ko po yan lahat. Dahil lahat yan ay totoo. Dapat tanggapin mo. Kaya lang ang Panginoon, sabi nga, God is always good to us. Bibigyan tayo niya ng para sa iyo talaga. Kaya nung nagsikap ako, natuto na ako magluto. Magaling na ako. Sarili ko, parang sa feeling ko, magaling ako magluto. And then, nag-apply ako sa abroad. Yun ang Oman feel. Apply ako ng bilang sous chef. Akalain mo, sous chef, hindi ko na maalam. Akala ko tagagawa ng sauce. Kaya sabi ko, sous chef. You know what? Noong natanggap ako sa abroad, hindi ko alam ang pupuntahan ko. So I served with the King of Oman. I am the first Filipino na executive chef sa Oman, sa King of Oman. Ang pinagsilbihan ko hari. You see, even though galing ako sa walang-wala, mahirap na tao, wala talagang kwenta, walang diploma. Yes, elementary graduate Ang aking diploma, lakas ng loob. Yung pag in-interview ako, hindi ako nahihiya. Dahil sabi nga, wala nang ibang mukha, kaya mahalin mo na lang. Di ba po? Kaya ganyan po tayo. Kahit tayo mahirap, kahit galing tayo sa houseboy, galing tayo kung saan man yon, huwag mong isipin yon. Ang mahalaga, habang tayo nabubuhay, magsisikap tayo. Dahil mayroon palang taglay ang Panginoon, bibigyan ka pala niya para talaga sa'yo. And then, it so happen, kaya nga tayo mga kabataan, huwag tayong sabihin na hindi natin alam. Alamin natin kahit hindi ka graduate. Ang pag-asenso sa tao, manggagaling sa atin. Sipag, tiyaga, faith in God, hindi ka abusado, hindi ka mayabang, lagi kang, pag sinasabi nilang, tanga ka, ay sabi ko nga, totoo nga po, tanga ako. Pero sabi ko, mali mo, balang araw, baging kasing galing ako sa'yo. It so happen. Kaya nga, tayo mga kabataan, huwag tayong mabahala at huwag tayong magsabi na hindi natin kaya. Kung hindi man tayo graduate, sikapin natin maging mabuting empleyado, maging mabuting trabahador. Ayan ang ating sisikapin. Kaya nga tinan mo, paano ako umangat, paano ako naging Chef Boy Logro, paano ako naging executive chef sa Manila Diamond Hotel, naging first Filipino executive chef na hindi naman ako graduate. Kasi, alam mo yung Panginoon, pag binigay ka, huwag kang, ako kasi hindi ako humihindi. Sira sa akin yung sinasabing refuse, hindi ako nagre-refuse. Kapag binigyan mo ko ng chance, I have to grab the opportunity dahil minsan lang yan sa buhay mo. Di ba? Kaya tinan mo, naging artista pa. Hindi ko rin akalain maging artista. Wala sa mukha, di ba? Wala din sa itsura, wala sa height, wala sa kulay. Abilidad. The way I preparing my food, the way I yung energetic, yung kwela ka, dapat hindi ka mahiya dahil tao tayo. Kaya maniwala ka sa sarili mo na ikaw yun. Di ba? Learning, tinuruan tayo ng magulang natin, tinuruan tayo ng mga kasamahan. Ako naman, experience lamang. I'm so blessed that I have my school. Tingnan mo, kahit hindi ako graduate, meron akong eskwelahan. I have my Culinary Institute of Culinary. Chef Boy Logro yan. Kaya nga po, sabi nila, even though I'm not graduate, but I have my school. Bakit? Para tulungan natin yung mga gusto ring mangarap na maging chef na katulad ko. Hindi mahirap. Ang tanong lang naman, wow, the food is great. Di ba? Eh pag sinabing the food is great, yun na po yun. Talagang iyong-iyo na yun. Wala nang iba. Alright, so sa mga kabataan, sabi ko nga sa iyo, paano ko umangat? Babalikan natin yung kabataan. Houseboy ako, janitor, hindi ako sumoko. Kaya nga, I stand against child labor. Di ba?
Maraming salamat, Chef Boy, sa pagbabahagi ng iyong kwento na siguro
Ayan, maraming salamat Chef Boy Logro sa iyong napaka-inspiring na storya. Naway maging inspirasyon din yan sa iba pang mga kabataan na huwag sumuko sa kanilang mga pangarap. Cyberspace has provided an easier and wider platform for sexual predators to access vulnerable children in any part of the world. Online sexual exploitation of children, or OSEC, is a phenomenon that emerged in the recent years which involves the production, possession, and distribution of sexual abuse materials and live streaming of sexual abuse or exploitation. At eto nga po ang tema ng ating Dolecula Special Entry entitled Graveyard. This is a non-competing entry produced by Dole 10 Regional Office officials. Paalala lang, sensitibo po ang paksa na ating ipapakita. Gabayan po ang ating mga anak sa panunood nito. Let us all watch this. Together, we will end online sexual exploitation of children by doing our part to protect children from violence. Your support makes a difference. At narito na ang pinakahihintay na bahagi ng lahat, lalong-lalo na ng ating mga focal officers, turned actors and directors, because we will now announce the winners of Dolecula Film Festival 2021. Grabe, excited na ba kayong lahat? Ayan, sa ating mga kasama sa ating virtual participants na kasama natin. Hello, kaway-kaway muna. Ayan, alam ko excited na kayong lahat malaman kung sino ang mga nanalo. Dahil dyan, sino kaya ang mga gusto ninyong manalo? Dahil dyan, eto po. Mag-send po kayo ng like emoji para sa Dole Bukidnon. Ayan. Meaning po, kung like po ang sinend ninyo sa ating chat box, ang boto po ninyo or ang gusto ninyo manalo ay Dole Bukidnon. Ito naman ang heart emoji para sa Dole Cagayan de Oro. Ayan po, heart emoji para sa Dole Cagayan de Oro. At syempre, para naman sa wow emoji, yan po ay para sa Dole Camiguin. Ayan po. At kung magsisend naman po kayo ng clap emoji, para po yan sa Dole Lanao del Norte. At syempre, hindi nagpapahuli, ang care emoji naman para sa Dole Misamis Occidental. Ayun po, klaro-klaro po ha. At syempre, meron din tayong hopeful emoji para sa Dole Misamis Oriental. Okay? Okay, ulitin po natin lahat. Sige po, balikan natin para klaro ha. Alam ko, ready na kayo. Pero eto, ulitin ko, ang like emoji po ay para sa Dole Bukidnon. Okay? Ang heart emoji para sa Dole Cagayan de Oro. Ang wow emoji naman ay para sa Dole Camiguin. At ang clap emoji para sa Dole Lanao del Norte. Ang care emoji naman ay para sa Dole Misamis Occidental. At lastly, ang hopeful emoji naman ay para sa Dole Misamis Oriental. Kaya isend na ang kanya-kanyang emojis na gusto ninyo. Sino kaya ang mananalo? Dahil i-announce po namin maya-maya lamang po ang ating mga winners. Again, congratulations in advance at maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga participants natin na sumali at nagbigay ng kanilang mga entries. Maraming salamat po. Grabe, nakapulot po ng maraming inspirasyon at motivation sa lahat para po syempre mabigyan ng proteksyon ang mga kabataan. Maraming salamat po. Naway magpatuloy inyong pagsuporta at pag-aalaga, proteksyonan ang mga bata and child labor. Okay, dahil dyan, maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama. Dyan lamang po kayo ha, hindi pa tayo natatapos. Okay, kumustahin natin ang ating mga kasama sa ating virtual event. Ating mga virtual participants, batiin natin. Eto, hello to Lilian Guardian from Norway. Hi, all the way from Norway. Hi, Ma'am Lilian. Maraming salamat. At syempre, kasama din natin ang mga taga-Bayambang WCPD Pangasinan. At syempre, ang Rizal MPS. Maraming salamat po. Diyan lamang po kayo. At eto, may nagbigay naman ng comment. Eto po, it's good to hear that both LGU and NEO having a one stand to eradicate child labor in our country. Ayan. Eto po, may nagbigay naman ng kanyang mensahe. Nagiging emotional ako sa mga kwento. Sana matuldukan na ang child labor. Ako nga, tumatayo ang balahibo ko dito ngayon nung napanood ko yung buong 6 entries. Grabe, ang gagaling. In 1 minute, nailahad nila ang mga storyang yun. Grabe, ano? Naway kapulutan natin yun ng aral lahat. So, eto na, without further ado, this is it. Simulan na natin ang ating announcement of winners. Simulan natin sa ating first category. Best Musical Score. Congratulations, Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte! Woohoo! Grabe, ang galing! Alright, let's proceed sa ating next award. Best Production Design. Congratulations, Hulagway by Dole Cagayan de Oro! Congratulations! Let's proceed to our next award, Best Cinematography. Best Cinematography. Congratulations, Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte! Woohoo! Galing! Grabe! Humahataw ang Dole Lanao del Norte. Ito, let's proceed sa ating next award. Best Editing. Congratulations, Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte! Grabe! Ang galing! Alright, on to our next award. Best Performer. Congratulations! Pangarap sa Takip Silim, Dole Bukidnon! Grabe, ang gagaling! Grabe! Eto, tuloy-tuloy na natin. Let's proceed sa ating next award. People's Choice Award. Congratulations! Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte! Woohoo! Grabe, Hakot Award ang Dole Lanao del Norte. Let's see kung sila din kaya ang makakapag-uwi nating next award. BWSC Jury Prize Award. Grabe, congratulations! Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte! Woohoo! Congratulations! And now, let's proceed to our next award. Best Direction. Congratulations! Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte! Grabe, ang galing! Pangatlong award, sunod-sunod sila nakakuha. Let's see sa ating next award. Let's proceed. Best Story. Bulagway. Congratulations, Dole Cagayan de Oro. Ayun po. Congratulations. And now, let's proceed to our next award. Best 1-minute film. Best 1-minute film. Congratulations, Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte. Ang gagaling ninyong lahat. Pero eto, for our major award. Major award goes to Sagwan ng Pangarap, Dole Lanao del Norte. Woohoo! Grabe, nakakapanindig balahibo ang ating announcement of winners. Siyempre, nakita naming lahat ang inyong mga entries. Ang galing ninyong lahat. Again, virtual palakpakan para sa inyong lahat, sa lahat ng mga nag-send ng entries. Thank you so much. Grabe, saludo kami sa inyong lahat. Pero eto, ngayon naman, kusayin natin ating mga kasama online. Makakausap natin sa ating live virtual kwentuhan ang representative ng Dole Lanao del Norte na si Miss Christy Perfecto, OIC Chief Labor Employment Officer ng Dole Lanao del Norte. Hi, Ma'am Christy. Magandang hapon. Mayong hapon, Ma'am.
Mayong hapon.
Ayan, mayong hapon. Kaway-kaway, Ma'am. Kaway-kaway. Yan, wave ng tagumpay. Ayan, Ma'am. Ma'am Christy, ano po ang memorable experience ninyo sa paggawa ng inyong short film?
Ang experience namin, one thing is a very good platform because it's a 1-minute film and I think lahat ng all ages can relate. But the difficulty that we have experienced is wala siyang dialogue. So, it's a challenging thing for us to impart a message to our audience. But basically, we have good naman partners also with the local government as well. So there's really no difficulty in terms of doing the production. And very supportive staff also in Lanao del Norte and as well as all other provincial field offices and the regional offices. So it also built the capacity to do well. And at the BuildCA2P, with their training, we would have not accomplished something as this, as we believe, kung wala naman tulong.
Message, wala. Message lang.
Yun po.
Okay. Ma'am Christy, maraming salamat. Mensahe niyo po para sa lahat ng mga bata at mga magulang.
Ang aking mensahe is for evil to prosper is for good man to keep their silence. We should not be silent. We should be continue to advocating against child labor. Wala na itong problema sa atin. Maraming salamat.
Okay, maraming salamat po and congratulations. Siyempre sa inyong team, Ma'am Christy Perfecto, OIC Chief Labor Employment Officer ng Dole Lanao del Norte. Kaway, Ma'am. Ayan, bago kayo umalis, thank you so much. Congratulations. Grabe, nakakatuwa. Talagang, ito po yung fruit of labor nila. Kumbaga, ito, naiuwi ninyo ang mga major prizes. Ayan, sa ating mga awards na pinamigay. Sa inyo po kayo po ang halos nakapanalo. Kayo po ang nakatanggap. Maraming salamat and congratulations. Ituloy niyo po yan ang inyong mga advocacy. Congratulations again sa lahat ng mga nanalo. And we hope that you continue to become agents of change for our children. Saludo po kami sa inyong lahat. At muli, congratulations sa inyong lahat. Balik tayo kay Michelle.
Congratulations sa mga nagwagi sa Dolecula Film Festival 2021. At syempre, congratulations din sa Dole Region 10 for successfully organizing this year's festival. Mula sa Dolecula, dito naman tayo sa isa din sa inaabangan ng ating manunood, lalong-lalo na ng ating mga talented kids dahil i-aanunsyo na natin ang mananalo sa ating Batang Bida Poster Making Contest. All entries illustrate, interpret, and and emphasize our theme, Saving Children from Hazardous Work. Let's all watch this. sining ng ating mga bata. And we are privileged to have with us the Executive Director of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Mr. Alrayan Alejandre, to share an inspirational message para sa ating mga kabataan and also to announce the winners of our poster making contest. Good afternoon, Sir Alejandre.
Isang mapagpalayang araw sa inyong lahat. Today, June 12, we celebrate two kinds of freedom. The first one is our national freedom, fought by our ancestors 100 years ago and enjoyed by many today. The second one is a pledge of freedom, our pledge to free the next generations of young Filipinos from child labor. As enumerated by the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, every child around the globe has the right to rest, relax, play, and to take part in cultural and creative activities. It is our duty in the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, or NCCA, being the primary government agency for the preservation, development, and promotion of Philippine arts and culture, to make this right into reality. Every Filipino child deserves a comfortable space where they can enjoy arts, hone their talents, and fortify their identity. The NCCA provides that home through free cultural and arts resources and engaging educational programs. But in order to produce the nation's next great painters like Juan Luna or Fernando Amorsolo, or musical geniuses like Lucio San Pedro or Ryan Cayabyab, we need the active participation of all private and public sectors. Like the unity of our ancestors in their clamor for freedom 123 years ago, we need to unite today and amplify our clarion call against child labor. Makibahagi, Makialam at Magkaisa para sa #Batang Malaya. But before I end, ako po ay nagagalak. Kami rito po sa NCCA na maging bahagi ng mga hurado sa pagpili ng mga likhang sining ng mga bata na nagpapakita ng kanilang talent sa pagguhit upang ilarawan ang epekto ng child labor sa mga bata. Eto na! At ang nagwagi sa ating poster making contest ay si Tamia Jershel M. Dulin. Congratulations! In closing, the NCCA reaffirms its commitment to this cause and shall continue to provide a free and enriching space for arts and culture for the enjoyment and education of our children and our children's children. Maraming salamat po. Daghang salamat.
Maraming salamat po Mr. Alrayan Alejandre, ang Executive Director ng National Commission for Culture and the Arts. At maraming salamat din po sa lahat ng mga talented kids mula Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao na nagbahagi ng kanilang mga amazing artworks. Creative experiences provide opportunities for children to express and demonstrate their knowledge in interesting and meaningful ways. Fostering children's creativity builds a foundation for healthy development and love for learning. Kaya naman sa mga magulang, suportahan po at gabayan natin ang ating mga anak in pursuing their passion in arts. Isa din po sa pinagpapasalamat ng ChildFund BuildCA project ang taus-pusong pagtanggap at suportang inyong ibinigay sa ating I Stand Against Child Labor campaign. To date, more than 1,000 people have manifested their support from TV and radio personalities, government officials, influencers, organizations, community, and our very own NCCA Arts Ambassador and Miss Universe 2018, Miss Catriona Gray. Let's watch this.
It is the duty of every country to provide quality health and education to their children. But as we address the health and socio-economic effect of the pandemic, some families have prioritized making ends meet and have allowed their kids to work, putting their child's welfare and safety at risk. ChildFund Philippines #IStandAgainstChildLabor is a campaign that highlights the urgent need to take action and calls on governments and organizations in the country and around the world to do more.
Kailangan po natin harapin ang mabigat na katotohanan na sa nakalipas na taon dahil sa pandemya, lumala ang sitwasyon sa child labor hindi lamang sa Pilipinas kundi sa buong mundo. Sa aking paglilibot sa buong bansa, para gumawa ng mga storya, saksihan po natin ang kwento ng mga kabataan na kailangan magtrabaho para sa kanilang pamilya. Isa pong napakalungkot na sitwasyon na hindi dapat mangyari dahil alam natin na nag-iiwan ito ng malalim na marka sa mga kabataan na dadalhin nila hanggang sa pagtanda. Isa pong napakahalagang issue na kailangan tutukan habang maaga pa para hindi lumala. Kung tayo po ay magbubuklod-buklod, matutulungan natin hindi lamang ang mga individual, kundi ang buong komunidad, ang buong lipunan, at syempre, ang ating bansa. Ako po si Ato Maraulio, and I stand against child labor.
Let's protect our children. Ang mga bata po dapat naglalaro, nag-aaral, at minamahal ng mga tao sa paligid niya. Hindi po dapat pinahihirapan o pinagtatrabaho. Ako po si Alvin Chico, isang broadcaster, and I stand against child labor.
Pamilyar po ba kayo sa kanta ng Apo Hiking Society na bawat bata? Ang sabi po doon, hayaan mo maglaro ang bata sa araw. At kung umuulan, hayaan mo din siyang magtampisaw. Dapat po ganon. Ang mga bata ay dapat naglalaro lamang sa panahon ng kanilang pagkabata at hindi dapat nagtatrabaho. Lilipas ang panahon, magiging matanda po ang bawat bata. So hindi na nila mababalikan yung mga panahon na dapat ay ini-enjoy lamang nila ang pagiging bata. Na ipagkakait po natin sa kanilang karapatan na sumaya bilang mga bata. I am Johnson Manabat, broadcast journalist, and I stand against child labor.
I believe deep in my heart and my soul that our children deserves a better and amazing future. This is amazing Betong Sumaya, and I stand against child labor.
Every child is born with inherent rights. The right to be protected against all forms of abuse, neglect, and exploitation. For them to achieve their well-being and full potentials. Poverty is not an excuse or a ticket for a child to be pushed to an exploitative and hazardous work in agriculture and industries, in services, and the emerging platform on online or digital space. I am Marcela D. Donal, Child Protection Specialist of ChildFund Philippines. So I stand against child labor.
In many countries, child labor goes against the normative frameworks designed to protect children. As adults, it's our responsibility to uphold these laws and hold other adults accountable. I'm Betsy Sherwood, and it's my honor to work with ChildFund as our senior advisor for child protection. I stand against child labor.
Alam niyo ba na napakarami mga kabataan ages 7 to 17 are involved in hazardous forms of work o trabaho na talaga hindi maganda para sa kabataan. Ano ito? May mga kabataang nagsasaka. As young as 7, 8 years old, nag-aararo. May mga batang nagtatrabaho sa minahan. At ito pa ang pinakamasama, may mga kabataan na inaalok ng mga magulang for sexual exploitation. Ang mga bata ay may karapatan. They have a right to be themselves, they have a right to be children, they have a right to play, they have a right to express, they have a right for protection. At tayo mga magulang at matatanda, it is our duty to make sure that children are protected. Ngayong COVID-19, ang pinakasapul sa lahat ay kabataan. Our children are at home, alone in their room, doing online education, separated from their friends, isolated from their friends. Important events in their lives. Bantayan natin ang gusto ng ating kabataan. Mahalin natin ang ating mga anak. At protektahan natin ang kanilang karapatan. Ako po si Kuya Kim, and I stand against child labor.
To protect the best interests of every child.
And I stand against child labor.
I stand against child labor.
And I stand against child labor.
Ako si Patrimay, mabarog ko, batok sa child labor.
I am Marian and I stand against...
Ako si Kiana, mabarog ko, batok sa child labor.
I stand against child labor.
I'm Denmark and I stand against child labor.
Mubarog ko, batok sa child labor.
And I stand against child labor.
Please protect us from any form of abuses.
I encourage everyone to take a stand today and reaffirm our commitment for the next generation of Filipinos, because the children of today will make the Philippines of tomorrow. I am Catriona Gray, Miss Universe 2018 and NCCA Arts Ambassador. Join me in standing against child labor.
I stand against child labor.
Ayan, palakpakan at pasend naman po ng heart emojis para sa ating mga celebrity advocates against child labor. Maraming salamat po sa inyong paglahok at pagiging advocate against child labor. Ayan po, together, let's empower children and bring public awareness to issues being faced by the most vulnerable children. At dahil dyan, inaanyayahan ko po kayong lahat na sabay-sabay po nating sabihin ang I Stand Against Child Labor bilang suporta sa kampanya laban sa child labor. Maaari nyo pong i-unmute. Ayan po, maaari nyo pong i-unmute ang inyong mga microphone para syempre marinig po ang mga boses ninyo. Okay, unmute nyo na po para sabay-sabay po tayo. Magka-countdown lang po ako hanggang 3 on my cue. Sabay-sabay nating sabihin, ulitin ko po, I stand against child labor. Okay, naka-ready na ba kayong lahat? Ready na ba? Alright, nakikita ko, ready na kayong lahat. huwag kalimutan i-unmute ang inyong mga microphone, okay? Para marinig po ang mga boss ninyo. Eto, simulan na natin. On my cue, at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I stand against child labor.
Child labor.
Ayan, palakpakan. Maraming salamat po. Eto, balikan naman natin si Michelle. Michelle.
Maraming salamat, EJ, at sa ating mga virtual participants. Singing and music play is an important role in our culture. From birth, parents instinctively use music to calm and soothe children, to express love and joy, and to engage and interact. Kaya naman, isang espesyal na original song ang munting regalo ng ChildFund BuildCA Project para sa ating mga minamahal na mga bata ngayong 2021 World Day Against Child Labor. Narito po ang isang BuildCA original song, Batang Malaya.
La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Mga munting paa saan ang punta, sa bawat hakbang palapit ng palapit sa pag-asa aangkinin. Dito tayo sa lugar kung saan matamis ang ngiti ng bawat batang nakadungaw sa kinabukasan walang ligalig. Ako'y isang munting bata, hayang maglaro, matuto, mangarap. Ako'y isang munting bata, matayog ang aking pangarap.
Narinig mo ba ang aking halakak? Kasiyahang binalot ng iyong pagmamahal at mahigpit na yakap. Mga munting kamay, huwag kang mag-alinlangan dahil meron kang kakapitan. Huwag ka nang mangamba dahil hindi ka na mag-iisa.
Ako'y isang munting bata, hayang maglaro, matuto, mangarap. Ako'y isang munting bata, matayog ang aking mga pangarap. Kami ay mga munting bata, sa tulong nyo makakamit ang 1 milyong batang malaya.
Wow! Grabe! Napakagandang awitin para sa ating mga bata. Yan po ay Batang Malaya, musical arrangement by Billy Santos and performed by Yuan Baksal and Shania Ezra Lim Diparini. At alam niyo ba na ang nag-compose ng kantang yon, yung Batang Malaya, ay ang ating BuildCA Child Advocacy and Communications Officer, ang nag-iisa, the Michelle Robin. Palakpakan natin. Virtual palakpakan para kay Michelle at heart emoji na rin. Ang galing, di ba? Napaka-meaningful. At sana'y maging inspirasyon ito para sa lahat ng mga bata at para sa lahat ng mga magulang. At syempre, salamat po sa mga nagpadala ng kanilang mga comments and mensahe sa ating chat box dito sa Zoom. Thank you so much. Sabi, it's good to hear that both LGU and NGO having a one stand to eradicate child labor in our country. Maraming salamat po sa mga nagpadala, nag-participate sa ating chat box message. Ayan po, maraming salamat po sa mga nagpadala ng kanilang mga emojis. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa amin ngayong hapon, ngayong gabi sa ating selebrasyon para siyempre wakasan na ang child labor. Childhood is a time to learn and make our children's future bright. Every time child labor is practiced, an innocent childhood has vanished. Together, let's protect the rights of children by campaigning for the end of child labor. Ako po muli, this has been EJ Ortiz, and I stand against child labor.
Maraming salamat, EJ, for joining our World Day Against Child Labor virtual event and to your commitment to join us in our campaign against child labor. The World Day Against Child Labor is not just a celebration, but also a wake-up call. We must act now on each of these threats to our children. With the pandemic facing so many of the world's children in jeopardy, let us protect our children and safeguard their well-being. Mula sa pamilya ng ChildFund and BuildCA2P project, maraming salamat po sa ating mga partner CSOs and organizations for making our World Day Against Child Labor virtual event possible. Maraming salamat din po sa lahat ng mga nanood ng ating munting programa at nagbigay ng suporta sa ating layunin na 1 milyong batang malaya. Ako po si Michelle Robin and I stand against child labor.
Mga munting paa saan ang punta, sa bawat hakbang palapit ng palapit sa pag-asa aangkinin. Dito tayo sa lugar kung saan matamis ang ngiti ng bawat bata, nakadungaw sa kinabukasan walang ligalig. Ako'y isang munting bata